Kenseth is in 19th. It's 400 miles, the final race in the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. It has been a great ride. And the green is in the air on NBC. Kane leads lap number 1.
And Jimmy Johnson made it 3 wide off turn 4 to try to find him a spot to ride in, as he talked about.
One of the early keys here is how quickly Matt Kenseth can move forward through the field, or if he indeed slips back.
One thing about Jimmy Johnson, he's going to find more room, more racing room today than he has all year, because all these guys racing with him are so worried about taking him out or taking one of the contenders out. So he'll have a lot of cooperation from the other drivers today, and that's not a bad thing.
Like Tony Stewart talked about, the very first race at Loudon, how difficult it was to race and worry about those other 10 guys battling for the championship.
Johnson runs in the 13th spot. Kane leads, then it's Riggs. Jeff Burton runs 3rd, then Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick. Jeff Gordon in the 24.
And Elliott Sadler in that 19 car came off turn 4 like he had jet engines instead of a gasoline engine.
That's another Evernham car. Evernham cars run 1st and 2nd right now.
And didn't Gordon start like 16th or something? He's up to 7th right now.
Started 12th.
12th?
Hey, B, what about the 24?
Benny, I talked to his crew chief, Steve Letarte, in the garage this morning, and he thought this was a 50-50 day. They could go forward or they could go backwards. In yesterday's 2 final practice sessions, their car behaved 2 completely different ways. As you see, first J.J. Yaley in the 18, and now perhaps Jimmy Johnson going by Jeff Gordon. They set the car up based on one set of expected race conditions, and Steve said if it doesn't work out that way, it's going to be a long day.
Johnson and Gordon, side by side, teammates at Hendrick Motorsports. Martin Truex Jr. in that 1 car, expected to be a threat here today for the win.
You see how much room Jeff Gordon gave Jimmy Johnson right there? I mean, Jeff drove up the racetrack, got out of the throttle, let the 48 go. Giving him all the room he needs.
Gives Johnson the 11th spot. You can see Kenseth back in 15 at the tail end of this picture. Update on the 48. Allen.
Smooth start to the race so far for Jimmy Johnson, Bill. And the most important tool that Jimmy has on the racetrack right now is not on the racetrack. It's on top of the grandstand. Each of these drivers connected by radio to a spotter who's watching his car and the rest of the racetrack. Jimmy's spotter is Earl Barman. He's a longtime veteran at it, did it for Rusty Wallace for many years. Right now, Earl very calmly, very soothingly telling Jimmy when he's got traffic around him, and like there, when he's clear of other cars and has room to move up and change lanes. Earl Barman, one of the most important people to Jimmy Johnson today.
10th position now for Johnson. Trouble on the backstretch.
Kurt Busch. And the 43 car, Bobby Labonte.
Our first caution.
We see some damage to the left rear of Kurt's car, but and I thought, oh, maybe the right front has some damage as well. Left front.
Cars ready. Right side.
Here's our first look. Oh.
Yeah, Kurt Busch just took off, got into the wall.
And Bobby ran into Kurt.
Yeah, that's all. Man, that thing, I'm not sure that thing cut a tire or something broke, because that car shot up the racetrack.
Well, Don Miller, the general manager of Penske Racing, told me this morning that the 2 car had to set up completely out of the box. They just wanted to try some things for 2007. And my guess is
I think they learned something.
they learned something didn't work too well.
No, because that car just shot up the racetrack like either something broke or something happened bad. They normally don't take off like that.
Safety crew at Bobby Labonte's car. He's unhooked the safety equipment, and now he climbs out.
And so frustrated.
You know, that 43 team worked so hard early in the season, then middle, later part of the year started getting those good finishes, taking Penner Enterprises forward. Certainly not the way he was hoping to end the 2006 season.
I talked to Dale Inman this morning,
Yeah.
a long time crewman at Petty Enterprises, and I mean, he was there in the 50s when Richard Petty started. When Richard and Dale worked on Richard's dad's car, Lee Petty's car. And he said, yes, he acknowledged that Bill Wilburn coming over there did a really good job for them. He's helped the team out. Todd Barrett, while he was there, got the team started back in the right direction.
Jimmy Johnson in the 10th position. Matt Kenseth is in 15th. Right now it's Casey Kane first, then Riggs, Burton, Harvick, and Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Elliott Sadler, David Gilliland, Ryan Newman, and Jimmy Johnson, the top 10. They've worked down the backstretch. Pit road will be open this time. We'll see if anyone decides to stop. Just 8 laps in. Working our first caution period of the Ford 400.
And Bobby Labonte could not have hit at a worse spot because he hits that right front tire and knocks it back, and so they might get back on the racetrack. Oh, Kyle Busch.
No, Kyle ducked back out.
Wait a minute, where's the commitment line?
He was very close to it.
Of course, under caution flag, Jeff Gordon is on pit
Yep.
road. Is that Harvick?
I believe that's Harvick. Kenseth.
So pit strategy playing out before we get to lap 10. Marty.
Harvick and his guys were fairly committed to coming to pit road, Bill, because they saw the tire fall off yesterday in the Busch Series race. Maybe that's one of the advantages to running the Busch Series race yesterday. They had knew that the new tires would be much better. It's going to be 4 tires. Harvick's car very tight, half-pound of the both left side tires. Matt Kenseth all the way at the very far end of pit road says his car also extremely tight, or actually loose in, loose off. He said it has no real balance. They made an air pressure adjustment to the 17 car. Alan?
Back end grip very much lacking on Jeff Gordon's 24 car. 4 tire change and an adjustment, and an interesting visibility problem finding his pit coming down pit road. Matt.
Chaser Denny Hamlin also pitted. AB said the track considerably different than how it was in final practice. His car extremely tight. They tried to improve that with a chassis adjustment and small air pressure adjustment. He started 33rd, had cracked into the 20s before this caution.
Looked like about 23 cars hit pit road. More than half the field. See how it plays out. 2 tires for the 17 for track position.
We're self-made.
Entering 3 with 1 to go. Give me the other smaller zebra clamp, driver. Or a screwdriver. Kurt, go ahead and get caught up. See what it feels like. Come back around, and we'll put the toe sticks on it. Toe sticks on it right now. I'm watching the pace car in front of me. We're going to have to sit here at the end of pit road. We're not managing our time very wisely at all. 10-4, I agree. Tail ends is out of 4. Say 88 right here is your last one. We'll be coming to the green, Kurt. Wiggle it back and forth so we can check to make sure for rubs on anything else. No, pit this time. Pit this time. We'll put the toe sticks on it.
All right, boss, pace car's in. Let's be ready. You ready? You ready?
Early caution here has shuffled the running order. Green flag back in the air. Harvick pitted from 3rd, Gordon from 14th, Kenseth from 15th. More than half the field on pit road. Riggs challenging for the lead. Scott Riggs in the 10. That's his teammate. Casey Kane in the 9.
Take it to the bottom. Got a really good run on him, and then he's got the 5 car. Kyle Busch got to be careful. He'll sneak around the top.
Matt Kenseth with that 2-tire stop restarted 18th.
That 5, Kyle Busch is going to take that 2nd spot away.
Now Riggs looks low. Jeff Burton watches from 4th. And there's Earnhardt Jr. in 5th.
If you can get your car to work on the high side, it's definitely going to be the fast way around this place. The banking's good up there. There's a lot of banking. You keep your car free. You keep the motor freed up. Really gets you a nice shot off the corner, speed-wise, if you can run that high line.
Bobby Labonte treated and released from the infield care center. Update on Riggs from Dave Burns.
And Bill, that pass for the lead didn't work out for Scott, but the fact that he's racing these guys, that's good news. The fear from his crew early on was that the car was going to be too free and Scott wouldn't be able to race it hard. But he's not that bad and willing to stick the nose underneath to go for it.
Matt, best season for Jeff Burton in 7 years, currently runs in the 4th position. Started the day, says the car just needs to rotate better in the center of the corner. But after about lap 10, judging from final practice, that's when they felt like this car was going to come in, and it is. AB.
And checking on championship leader Jimmie Johnson, who in the first opening 7-lap run of the race. Oh, trouble.
Down in turn 4, Kurt Busch again.
And he just came off of pit road. I mean, he just left pit lane.
Yeah, I don't think this is fixable.
He heads back to the garage. Caution number 2.
Staying out. He was the first one behind us, Scott. Eight 48 and 22, the only 3.
Yeah, 10-4. They're just the ones that took tires that got back there in 20s. I mean, they hadn't passed anybody really, you know, the four laps there.
For Alan Bestwick.
And pretty happy with the handling on his car. He might have hit a small piece of debris from that accident, bouncing down the racetrack, a spring rubber or something. So the crew's going to change 4 tires here, and they're just going to, Jimmy's just asked them to take a good look at the nose and the fenders on the front of the car that are so critical to the handling on this big fast racetrack, and make sure there's no damage. I see a little bit right on the lower grill. You see under the word Monte, the E there, where the Monte Carlo is on that front part of the grill. The crewman just jumped away. There it is. See the hole punched right there in Jimmie Johnson's car, and they're going to hold him here and fix that hole because it affects the handling. Dave?
And Alan Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Monte Carlo on and off of pit road. 4 tires for Jr. He had 2 complaints, just a little bit loose off the corner, a little bit tight in the center. He said, you know what? I can live with the loose off right now. Let's fix that tight in the middle of the corner. They made an air pressure adjustment to try to help that.
Thanks, Dave. Sometimes it's not the big things that prevent you from winning the championship. Sometimes it's the small things, and the small things you hit on the track. Jimmie Johnson heads back out at Homestead.
Get ready for holiday guests with help from the Home Depot.
Okay, go ahead and clean your tires up coming back to the green.
Doing our part to help those in need.
I get in the truck and it won't.
Pace car is in. Green, green, green. Well, by 2. Clear.
Kenseth runs in the 11th spot.
And this is the nervous probably Jimmie Johnson has been in a long time as far as being on the racetrack, just because he's in a mess of cars right now. These are cars that aren't good handling cars, or they wouldn't be back there to begin with. So any little small mistake, he could be in the middle of it. He wants to get through this as quick as he can.
Robbie Gordon in the 7 there. Alan?
Bill, I talked to two former champions this morning, Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte, about this situation that Jimmie Johnson faces right now. And Dale Jarrett in particular raised the point that restarts would be one of the things that concern Johnson the most all day, because it's when things happen. The field is bunched up together, and if somebody misses a shift, if somebody jumps on the brakes, if these cars racing in front of him get together, does he have time to stop and avoid it? So Jarrett, a former champion, said this will be a tight time for Jimmie Johnson. I guess the good news.
Oh,
there it is.
That's Montoya.
He's got. I think he ran in the back of someone and knocked the. I think he ran into his teammate.
Yeah.
And knocked the left front fender in.
It's Casey Mears in the 42. Juan in the 30.
And see how your heart just jumped?
Yeah.
Jimmie Johnson just did the same thing when he saw that smoke. And that left front tire is going to go down. It already looks like it's halfway down now.
Scott Riggs, that 10 car, trying to take the lead away from Kyle Busch. Didn't work.
And now that 9 car has got a real big run. Getting off a 2 on Scott Riggs. But Riggs likes that low line right now.
You know, Johnson qualified 29th last week at Phoenix, and it was a thing of beauty to watch him move up through the field. Faces that same challenge now, is up to 34th.
But he had such a great race car last weekend.
Matt Kenseth in the 17, runs in the 9th spot. Ryan Newman in the 12th. Update on Kenseth from Mr. Snyder.
And he is facing the same situation Jimmy Johnson was earlier. Restarted 18th, has made his way back up through the field a little bit on 2 tires. He said earlier it felt like there was no balance. He was lacking grip. They made an air pressure adjustment, trying to get the car a little bit better for Matt. You see he's made his way into the top 10, trying to race as smart as he can and stay as far ahead of the 48 as he can as well, Bill.
Marty, I know you had a long conversation with Robbie Reiser, his crew chief, this morning, and there was an air of optimism in that hauler this morning.
Absolutely, because they found something that finally worked for them after weeks and weeks of struggling on this 17 team. They found a setup that worked for them. They kind of ran out of time in happy hour, to be honest with you. They would have loved to have played with it a little bit more, but they were just so happy to give Matt something that he liked that they were really excited for today's race.
Kenseth won the Busch race here yesterday. Runs in the 8th spot.
48 cars splitting 2 cars right there, getting off of 4. So Jimmy Johnson's car must be pretty good if he's driving in between guys like that.
Up to 29th now. Back up front, the teammates. Riggs in the 10, Kane in the 9. This is second behind race leader Kyle Busch. Kane has had a fabulous season. 6 wins, made the chase. Dave?
Hey, Bill, did you notice how Evernham cars qualified 1st, 2nd, and 4th?
Yes.
They had a very good weekend in that department. Elliott Sadler being the 4th place qualifier. Crew Chief Rodney Childers on the 10 car told me this morning, you know what? These cars all have completely different setups. They're the same chassis, same bodies, but the drivers all like something a little different. Guess what? They're all fast.
Each driver's got a little different feel. And they run maybe a different line. And if you run different lines, like we all know, Casey Kane likes the high line. You need a little different setup if you're going to run the high line all the time.
Kane and Riggs behind Kyle Busch. 27 laps in. There's Kyle looking to put one more win on the board before the season comes to a close. Matt Kenseth runs in the 8th spot. Won the championship in 2003 with just 1 victory. Has 4 wins this year. He's chasing his 2nd championship. See how it unfolds in the Ford 400.
Still outside, clear all around. Looking outside, looking outside. Still outside, still there, clear all around. Looking, clear. Still outside, still there, still outside. Still outside, clear all around. Get the rhythm and drive back to him here.
33 laps complete in the Ford 400. Homestead Miami Speedway in South Florida. Kyle Busch in the 5-car leads Casey Kane in that 9 machine. Then it's Scott Riggs, Jeff Burton, Greg Biffle, the top 5. Time to work in our singular race talk question. What was the biggest story of 2006? To vote, text the word race to 191 on your singular wireless phone. And congratulations to Tammy Street of South Bend, Indiana, the singular race talk sweepstakes winner. You got your answer picked out there, BP?
Oh, I do.
Okay.
I certainly do.
Kyle Busch with a strong ride here early in the Ford 400. Now there is Jimmy Johnson. He has just gotten past Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the 21st spot. And very similar to what we saw last week, after that extended pit stop to fix the damage on the nose of that car, he has worked his way patiently through the field.
And we see so many guys running the high line. Kyle Busch, Casey Kane running extremely high on the racetrack. But look at Jimmy, right down in that 18 degrees of banking, and it's making it work for him.
And this is what he wants. He wants this thing to stay strung out, stay green, so he can catch a car and pass them one by one. He doesn't want to be in those big packs anymore today.
No, that 3 and 4 wide in front of him, that's not any fun.
Now, how about Dale Earnhardt Jr.? He's had his hands full and has had some trouble already here in this race. We can go back and show it to you.
Yeah, we saw the 30-car Juan Pablo Montoya, left front smoking. The front Texaco car is 42, the back one Montoya. Watch him as he just rubs the right rear of Junior's car.
And they run these fenders so close to these tires. That's all it took for that thing to make contact. And here's a little bit more contact between Casey Mears and Earnhardt down the straightaway.
Doesn't take much, does it? How about it, Dave?
They told Junior about that little fender rub. They said just a minor fender rub, and it's behind the right front tire, so don't worry about it. Junior, by the way, radioed to his crew early on today. You may have noticed I've passed a few race cars. They weren't really impressed because they know this is a long race, but you might have noticed, Bill, that he's passed a few race cars since that restart, too. Restarted 32nd. He's passed 10.
That's a few.
More than a few.
Earnhardt Jr.
Goes by David Strimmy in the 40 car.
Just one win this season at Richmond. Made the chase, started the day 5th in the championship standings, on board with Earnhardt. Runs in the 21st position.
You see there about 194 BP. Top speed going into 3.
Better him than us. Or me, anyway.
Greg Biffle moving forward. Think he likes coming to Homestead, BP?
Oh, he loves this racetrack.
How about it, Dave?
And Greg told BP just before we got going green there, this is the same race car. Biffle told his team this morning, boys, I think we can spank him. Biffle's running very well. Started 22nd all the way up to 3rd.
Got that 3rd position from Scott Riggs.
But he hasn't made that first pit stop yet. And this thing has a green flag look to it for the time being. So all these guys have to stop on the green flag, then the caution flag come out to put them in serious trouble.
2 drivers still eligible for the next Tuck Up Championship today. Veteran Jimmy Johnson in that 48 passing the rookie Denny Hamlin.
Boy, Johnson's car does look good down there on the bottom. It's got a lot of grip down there right now.
Well, he's definitely running where no other cars are running. So there's green racetrack down there. Casey Kane, he's down there now, still trying, but he just can't get that oomph off the corner he needs to go by the 5 car.
Kyle Busch holds on to the lead for now. 41 laps in. Working lap 42. There's Jimmy Johnson. He came in as the championship leader, but it has been an up and down season for the 48 bunch.
We're always very good at staying focused on each day and attacking that day and not letting the pressure of bad days or good days really affect us. So that's something I'm very proud of this race team for. And we did have some, forget it, let's just go on, race for the win. And some of that stuff did come into play, and we did talk about it, but we didn't need that to perform. We just have that ability to shrug stuff off and keep moving.
And right now he's moving forward. Up to 19th.
Where did he restart after the caution flag?
Restarted 40th.
and he's up to 19th.
That's like half the field he's passed. Wow. That'll tell you how strong Jimmie Johnson's car is. For now, we'll see how things work out as track conditions change. Kyle Busch is the race leader in the Ford 400 on NBC.
So, what kind of financial help?
Caution down, debris on the backstretch and turn 3.
Scott, is that groove on that last tire? Not debris on it, but that line, no issue. Okay, 10-4. We're going to do air pressure. Air pressure only just picked up. That's something that you're pulling out at the bottom. Don't go overboard on it. Try to get it back to the way it was. You were real good right there. You were starting to chip back away at the lead. This was the only one on the track fast.
Pits are open this time, guys. Pits are open. Jeff, the 10 and 16 are both pitting well after you. Well after you. On access road now, guys. Jeff, when you come around the tire barriers, you're about 100 feet from the commitment line.
And is the 41st car still on the lead lap, 45 laps in. Again, you can't make any mistakes if you're an over-the-wall guy, and you can't get a speeding ticket if you're the driver. Could take you right out of the championship chase. Marty.
And Bill, Robbie Reiser reminded his team of that, and Matt Kenseth as well. Said, be careful of your speed when you leave our stall. And guys, we need a very flawless stop, but don't get in too much of a hurry. The car very tight for Matt. 3/4 of a pound on the right front, quarter round of wedge in the right rear. Matt?
Danny Hamlin has only been able to climb up to the 21st position. His car transitions from tight, the entry of the corner, all the way through the corner, bounces a tire that rolled off of the 0-1, looking for a track bar adjustment and going to back up the wedge change they made on the previous stop, AB.
When Chad Knaus asked Jimmie Johnson how his car was when the caution came out, Jimmie said, good. A very small adjustment to try and keep up with changing track conditions and a 4-tire change, Dave.
Very slight adjustment for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He said the car is decent in and off, but tight in the middle of the corner. Air pressure for the 8 car.
Wow, take a look at the Nextel race off of pit road.
Kane and Kyle Busch change positions. Biffle maintain. Kenseth, once again, those guys from Wisconsin gained 3 spots.
Nextel celebrating speed, teamwork, and getting things done instantly.
Mr. Westerberg changing that front tire on the 07 car of Clint Boyer. Round the left side. All right, 5 now. 5, just 5. There you go. Now let's tighten 5. Go, Clint, go.
Wednesday, 10/9 Central. Medium is back on N.
Get tires on it. We're going to come back. One to go, we're going to get the same shape as last time.
Dale, I can't do everything but so much here, man. We don't want to get another lap down. Go out and get caught up. Come on. All right, Pep, look at me. Did you get the track bar right? We're up 2 clicks from where we were. Okay. Hustle around, Dale, then come on in. We're going to get 4 right here. The field's off 2. Going to be fine here. Just come on down. We'll get 4 tires, guys. No fuel here. None. It's going to be 1 to go here. Yeah, we'll be just fine here. Come on, pit. 4,200, second gear. We need some wedge out of this thing. We can try a little bit. Get your wrench there, Carol, and go out there and take a round out or in the right rear. Put a round in the right rear.
You are watching the Ford 400 from the Homestead Miami Speedway on NASCAR in-car. Only available on digital cable.
Car coming to the green, coming to the green.
Harvick, Scott Riggs, Joe Nemechek, J.J. Yaley, and Jeff Burton. The top 10. Kyle Busch has led 28 laps today. Casey Kane has led 20. Pace car to pit road. Casey Kane, the race leader.
Man, they're bringing these cars down slow for these restarts, aren't they?
Seems like it.
This time Kyle Busch is going to try it on the low side. That 5 car is pretty good on the get up to speed lap.
It really does look like it. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull this off or not, though, getting off of 4 because Casey Kane's got that run. No.
And that is one of the attractive things about this place. You can run here side by side for a long time.
I just love this racetrack and the way they have made it so that you can race side by side and not bounce off the other car. You know, there's a lot of racetracks you can run side by side, but it's always that potential of bouncing off the other car. Not that it's not won't happen today.
Yeah, you can go down into a corner here at this racetrack side by side, and there'd be enough area between 2 cars where it doesn't loosen up the guy at the bottom. A lot of racetracks you see you can run side by side going to the corner, but the guy at the bottom, if he's real close to the guy at the top, it takes the air off the spoiler, and they spin out. Here is so wide that there's enough air gap in between these cars. Still can happen, but there's plenty of racing room.
Kane leads. Kyle Busch second, Greg Biffle third, Matt Kenseth came in 7th and came off of pit road 4th. So his guys got him 3 positions on pit road, and here are the over-the-wall guys that represent Roush Racing on the 17 bunch.
Robbie Reiser, Allenton, Wisconsin.
Chris Brook, Davie, Florida. Justin Nottestead, Cambridge, Wisconsin.
Russ Stroke, Allenton, Wisconsin.
Zachary Yarnock, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Jeremy West, Los Angeles, California.
Greg Ebert, Marshall, Wisconsin.
Dave McDonald, Clinton, Michigan.
Wayne Deloria, Biddeford, Maine, now Hickory, North Carolina.
And guys, Robbie Reiser congratulated his crew after the pit stop. We told you before that pit stop, he told the guys, make sure you're fast, but also be efficient. Don't try to be too fast. The pit crew is just like your offensive line in football. If they're opening up big holes, the running game works. And usually when you're good on pit road, it's an awfully good day on the racetrack as well. Right, Bill?
I knew with Robbie Reiser you'd get in a football analogy
I was
there.
trying because I think his poor Packers are losing.
Riggs challenging Kenseth for that position.
Just ahead of these two cars. Tell you what, that 38 car, David Gillen is doing a good job right now for Robert Yates. Just in the 4th spot.
I was really concerned about the 3018 Gilliland because when he first jumped in this car, had no success. But the last month, 6 weeks, he has made a great account of himself and doing a fantastic job. But in qualifying show the other day, he said when he first walked in here, he had a motor coach. He stayed him in the motor coach lot. He said, "What am I doing here? I don't belong here. I'm just some guy from California." But as he's had more success, he said, maybe I do belong here, and he's feeling much more comfortable.
Currently runs in the 4th spot. Casey Kane, one of the young stars of NASCAR. Tremendous season. He's out front here in the Ford 400. 6 wins, 6 poles. Can he get his 7th win of the season? We'll find out this afternoon.
Inside, 32 inside. Clear. Still out there. Clear, clear.
They made an adjustment to help his car turn across the center, but they lost time. They're training a new tire carrier after one was dismissed a few weeks ago for that incident at Texas. Marty?
Dave, terrific run going so far for J.J. Yaley, who started 8th and currently is running in the 7th position. He said his car was a little too tight on the end of that run, but that's when they're really good. At the very end of a run, that's when that 18 car comes to life. They're hoping that we have a long green flag run right here, Matt.
Jeff Burton just took back another spot. He had a slow stop on pit road, lost 5 positions. Started on the restart 10th. He says the car has some kind of smoky issue. It's sort of hazy, but he doesn't smell anything burning. Not exactly sure where it's coming from. His other concern, Marty, is the sun heading down into turn number 1.
And Matt Burton took that spot from his teammate Kevin Harvick, who has a lot to complain about in that 29 car. He said the car is just not running down the straightaways. Feels like he's a little down on engine horsepower. Other than that, handling-wise, starts out extremely loose, hard to hang on to, but at the end of the run comes to him much better then, Matt.
Rounding out the top 10, it's a 0-1. Florida's Joe Nemechek. 4 years ago, he finished 2nd here. Right now, he's running in 10th. Says the car, not bad, but it is getting tighter, especially from the center of the corner off. Dave?
Scott Wimmer, a rare appearance in an Nextel Cup car these days. It's looking good for him in the future, though. Richard Childress Racing put him in this car because they're going to have him in the Busch Series full-time in 2007. Made an air pressure adjustment on the car on the last stop. Just a little bit hard to turn off the corner. Matt?
Martin Truex Jr. continues to end the season on a very positive note. Currently runs in the 12th position. Didn't pit in the early pit cycles. Decided to stay out for track positions. So the car was a little free on entry and on exit, but not bad at all. AB?
Well, Jimmy Johnson trying to pick up another spot and make that pass on Martin Truex Jr. Does not appear to be any ill effect from the hole punched in the grill in his car from that debris. They think off Kurt Busch's car when he crashed a while ago. Jimmy falling back to 40th on that stop, up to 19th. His pit crew gained him 4, and he's picking up the rest on the track. Clint Boyer, what a drive for this guy. He had to start at the back of the pack after his team had to change an engine, a violation of NASCAR rules. Has raced his way up into the top 15 from the back of the line. And Carl Edwards, also another good drive up in the middle of the pack. He started in 31st position. His crew chief Bob Osborne told me this morning he felt like they had a car that could race its way into the top 10. Maybe contend for the win. Matt?
Denny Hamlin has made it all the way up to the 17th position. Crew chief Mike Ford listened to Denny's radio frequency last night during the Busch Series race just to see if he could pick up any trends that would carry over to today. Right now, the trend is the car extremely tight. They backed up on a previous adjustment just to try to free it up. Dave?
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. now running in the 19th position, still with hopes for the title. A race car that is decent, in his opinion. Said it's not that fast at the start of the run, but we're okay. He's not worried too much about it. Bill?
Thank you, Dave. That's a top 15 through the field, plus the gentlemen still eligible for the championship today. You'll also find Elliott Sadler in 16th, David Stremme in 19th, and Ryan Newman in 20th. There are currently 40 cars still on the lead lap. Casey Kane is the race leader. Matt Kenseth runs 5th. Championship leader Jimmy Johnson 13th. We're just getting started in the Ford 400 in Homestead.
It's the
There by half. And inside, clear behind it. Still inside, still there, clear. Looking inside. Clear. Clear all around.
One.
Oh, he got off the bottom. He's up on top. Trying to go by Harvick on the outside.
And Harvick's going to pinch him a little bit.
Man, that was, didn't give him anything right there.
Remember, Harvick is one of the guys still alive in the championship chase here.
I talked to Steve Letarte, the crew chief on the 24 car this morning, and he said he hoped, they didn't feel like they were going to have a good day. The car wasn't that good in practice. But he said he hoped that he would be able to get up and protect Jimmy's back. You know, at least race with Jimmy and, as I said, protect his back. That's not happening.
Boy, I guess not. He's back in the 35th spot right now, BP.
He's going backwards. Jimmy's going forward. So Jeff Gordon struggling today at Miami.
Johnson now into the top 10 after restarting 40th after they repaired that damage to the nose of the low Chevy. 2 years ago, Johnson came here, finished second in the championship standings by just 8 points. An update on Jimmy from Alan.
So you guys think Kevin Harvick just made it a little tough for Jimmy to get by him there?
So did Jimmy, huh?
Yeah, he did. And basically told his spotter, Earl Barber, nah, you better keep an eye on that kind of thing all day for me, huh? He said, yes, sir.
I don't know if I said everybody was going to be nice to him today.
Certainly the four guys.
Most people.
Yeah. Certainly the four guys racing for the title are going to race him as hard as they possibly can.
You're darn right.
Boy, Junior, he's in hog heaven now. He's up in his favorite high line, right on that gray stuff, going somewhere.
Running with his buddy Carl Edwards there, huh?
Oh, yeah.
How about the 99? Allen just got zipped by the 8 there.
Yeah, but still having a pretty good day. You know, we're talking a lot about the championship, and rightfully so. It's the headline story of the day. But there are a lot of guys out here, like Carl Edwards, who need something today. He needs a win, or 2006 is going to be an offer. Driver that won 4 times a year ago. His last try this year, he really wants a victory badly. Dave?
As for the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr., guys, remember, this was the car car that bounced around at Texas, bounced off the wall when he got in contact with Clint Boyer, bounced through the infield later in the day, and it was that second impact with the little quarter mile on the infield that really hurt this chassis. They replaced both the front and the rear of the car, turned it around in 3 days, and got it ready to go again because Junior likes it. It's running pretty well today.
Good look at Junior.
That last lap, he was the quickest car.
83 of 267 laps here in the Ford 400. Casey Kane, the race leader. Kane, the leader on the track. Johnson, the leader in the championship standings. When he grew up, he wanted to be a fireman. Then he got the racing bug. Won his first championship on 2 wheels at the age of 8. Chasing another one now on 4 wheels at the age of 31.
But there by half, there by quarter, looking inside, bumper, side bumper, clear, just looking. Clear. The 9's with him. 2 wide behind you. Be the 9 looking inside here. Looking inside, 9. Inside 9. 96 with you here. 96 inside. Inside 96. 96 by itself inside. Quarter. Bumper. Bumper. Clear. All clear.
Coming up on you quick, buddy. You're going to get a big run coming off. Coming outside. Outside. Still there, still there. Clear up behind you by 5 car lengths. All clear. Inside. They're behind you.
Junior is.
He needs to just stay on that line that he's running, because he has been about 0.3 of a second faster than the leader for about the last 10 laps. Now he's 9 seconds behind the leader of Casey Kane, But Dave, he's got a line working for him right now that is very, very fast.
And Wally, spotter Steve Meal is helping him with that line, but he's doing something different for him this weekend. Dale Earnhardt Jr. asked specifically that Steve help him in the corners. Usually Junior does not want to be talked to at any time when he's in a corner. Talk to him when he's on the straightaway. So he said, Steve, after what happened to me at Texas, when Clint Boyer and I got together, you have got to spot me closer in the corners, because when I'm underneath another car, that back end comes around, and I learned that at Texas. So today, more chatter on the radio for the 8 car because he wants it.
Hey, what, that last lap was over 0.7 of a second faster than the leader.
That is unbelievable. That is
so in about
stupid.
10 laps, he's going to be leading this thing if he keeps up this pace.
See, Biffle in the 16 car has taken over second spot from Kyle Busch. Now takes off after Casey Kane. But Biffle is about 2 3/4 seconds behind Casey Kane. But you're right. Nobody, if Biffle could run as fast as Casey Kane, he'd catch him in about 5 laps. I mean, there's Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Well, let's find out. Speeds at the line. Comes Kenseth.
He had to pass somebody there, but it'll be interesting to see what he did. There you go.
Look at that. How about you, Dave?
When he went around the Scott Riggs car, actually before that, they told Scott somehow the 8 car is going about 3/4 of a second faster than everybody else on every lap. You might want to let him go. Scott said, no problem.
Man, oh man. And he has moved up to 3rd in the championship standings. Still a distant 107 points behind, now 103.
And that is so thrilling for Dale Earnhardt Jr. to run that line, because, folks, he literally is, I would say, just a few feet from that outside retaining wall. And one little slip, he's going to go up and pound that outside retaining wall. But that's what drivers love. It's just that extra adrenaline.
I wondered what made you guys tick.
Oh, man.
See how close he runs up to that wall? I mean, like BP said, he's only a couple feet off that wall right there. But the car's gripping. Plus, I guess that cushion of air in between the door and the wall might be helping a little bit.
And he will keep going up there as long as he has that grip. He's going to keep moving up until he brushes the wall, and that might slow him down just a little bit.
Next one in line for Dale Earnhardt Jr. would be Matt Kenseth. Marty?
Well, Bill, the stopwatch shows that Kenseth is one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, but ever the cerebral one, as we've called him earlier this year. Matt Kenseth always diagnosing that chassis. Here was his latest offering to Robbie Reiser.
Started off real good, just like the Busch car, real loose, like it was going to be good on a long run, and then whatever we got going, it just overheats the front tires. I mean, it started off so loose it can hardly hang on to it, which was good, and then just overheats the front tires and starts plowing.
So that's his quandary, Wally and Benny. He's loose at the beginning of the run, but whatever they're doing is heating up those front tires. So when the car finally comes in, those front tires are all used up, and the car is extremely tight. And you know what? We're only about 8 to 10 laps from these guys pitting, so decisions have to come quick.
And look at that car right there, that red car that's getting larger and larger.
You mean that one right there?
Man, he is flying right now.
And he's racing where no one else in the racetrack is racing, so traffic is not a problem. Watch him go by Schrader and Kenseth.
No contest.
Wow. That's 5th for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Behind Casey Kane, Greg Biffle, Kyle Busch, and David Gilliland. Pit stops coming, maybe under green.
find anything to help? Copy that.
Air by 2 over new tire.
Got real goofy there for a little bit. You know, you can't hear. You know, you can't keep it on the service road here. Oh, you can, bud. You know, you can. Still coming. Still coming outside here. The 12. Clear high. All clear. All
The front end just chatters right across the racetrack. That means the front end very tight on this race car. Half round of wedge in the right rear. Matt didn't want to go too far with the adjustment, but enough to try and get this car to turn a little bit better. Dave?
Greg Biffle gives up second place. They will make a wedge adjustment, wedge in the left rear. Tear off for Greg. He was complaining that the car was a little bit loose off the corners. Again, giving up second place to come on pit road at this point. Marty?
Today, Kevin Harvick hits pit road, and he has been complaining about this race car. He said, guys, we are so far down on horsepower that we have to be perfect through the center of the corner to be able to keep up with everybody else, and air pressure and wedge adjustment trying to make this 29 car better. Dave?
Casey Kane's crew now will take the leader down pit road, gives up that first spot. They're not going to make any chassis adjustments. Yes, now a wrench does go in the rear of the car. Track bar adjustment for Casey. Car just a little bit loose right now. 10 car also, Scott Riggs in. He also couldn't see out of the front of his car, wanted to get a better view, so they take a tear off down. It'll be a 4-tire change for the 10 car. They make air pressure adjustments in the right rear and left rear. The car was better in the shade in 1 and 2, but was loose in both ends of the track.
And Jeff Burton, who has been bouncing back and forth in and out of the top 10, his car completely on the tight side, calling for some more adjustments to try to free up. He searched around a little bit to see if he could find a better line. Air pressure change for him, a close call on exit with a 26, as the 11 of Denny Hamlin is in. His car not bad. They backed up a previous adjustment. He said that helped, but we need to do more of the same. Another track bar adjustment for the 11 driver, Dave.
Would you change anything on the 8 car? I wouldn't. I think they're probably going to change 4 tires, though. Give Junior that fresh rubber. Really hasn't said anything on the radio. Has been racing hard. Makes the hard left-hand turn to get into his pit box. He hits that correctly. He will also get a tear-off taken off the passenger side. That's where the other Wally sat today. On the left-hand side where the driver is, that stays. He's got about 6 of those tear-offs that he can work with all day long. Air pressure adjustments only, if anything, for the 8 car, and he leaves. Alan.
And here comes Jimmy Johnson. Chad Knaus just called him on the pit road, telling Jimmy about turning off his brake fans so he doesn't blow all the dust off the brake pads back into the face of his tire changers. Going to make a 4-tire change here. Jimmy wants a little help with the front end handling of his car in the center of the corners. So that'll be the adjustment that they make here. Chad counting him down into his pit spot, and the crew goes to work. You see the wrench going into the back rear corner of the car. There's the adjustment to try and help Jimmy's handling. And a very smooth 4-tire change in progress right now for the championship leaders.
All this happening with 108 laps complete. Now, a couple of things to point out here. Dale Earnhardt Jr. stayed out, led a lap, got 5 bonus points. Jimmy Johnson stayed out, led a lap, got 5 bonus points. At the beginning of the day, we told you 12th or better will clinch for Johnson. Since he's led a lap and gotten 5 bonus points, it's now 13th or better for Jimmy Johnson, and he will clinch the Nextel Cup championship.
And Jimmy Johnson was so conservative. getting on pit road. He doesn't want to make any mistakes. And here, Wally, it's easy to make a mistake on that flat apron.
Yeah, it's really slippery down there. You're coming off the racetrack. It's very flat, and you're trying to get as much as you can because you can lose a tremendous amount of time or gain time on that pit road. So you saw him go to the right. He just slipped a little bit.
When Paul Menard pits, Casey Kane will re-inherit the lead. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 5th spot, Kenseth in 6th. Jimmy Johnson runs 9th. 110 laps are complete in the Ford 400.
Itself here. Outside 31 by itself. Clear. Clear by 10 to the 99.
It is rolling in green. But what has the banker done to cause this? Deal or No Deal tomorrow on NBC.
Go to the NASCAR.com Superstore to get your officially
Against the wall, he's rolling.
NBC.
Well,
caution is out.
5 car got a little bit loose. Getting into 1. He hit the wall. Yeah, we'll show you the first time first, and then he finished it off the second time. There he is on the high side. Gets a little bit loose. And he hangs on to it, but it didn't look like he hit that hard, but he did a lot of damage. The second time, BP, he finished it off, I believe.
Goes down in turn 1. Looked like that first time he was trying to. Yeah, he's already in the wall. He doesn't even get to the corner. He's already brushing the wall. It looked like he was trying to imitate Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s line. And
well, he was following him there.
Yeah. Jr. just passed him for the 3rd position. And I tell you, not everyone can run that line.
Okay, pit road is going to be open.
Well, he just pitted about 10 laps ago, didn't he?
I think they're still going to come.
Casey Kane's on pit road, so is Biffle.
Pit stop started on 98 and it ended on 109, so some guys just 7 laps ago.
Junior stayed out, didn't he?
I believe he did.
Be interesting to see how this plays out.
But his car's better late in the run. Might be a good move for him.
Start with Kenseth. Marty.
Hey, Bill, this is the disadvantage of having the very first stall in pit road. They're literally talking about adjustments about 100 feet before they get to the stall. They made a last-second call, half round of wedge out of the left rear. Matt also made a call for a half pound out of the left rear tire, but obviously it was fuel only, Alan.
Bottom of the screen, Jimmy Johnson is going to pit. They're going to get 4 tires on this car, not make any adjustments. They just asked Jimmy if he was good with what they gave him off that last pit stop. He felt like it would be fine. So it's just going to be a 4-tire change here, Dave.
Top of the screen, Casey Kane, 2-tire change only. And the reasoning was to stay out front. But a lot of guys already stayed out front in front of them, right?
Stop. Get him. Go. Outside.
Well, this is
outside.
really going to shuffle the running order. Kenseth got right side tires.
Well, that was Johnson. Something happened. Did he kill the engine, or did something happen as he started to exit the pits? Alan?
Benny, he either snagged the air hose or they had a lug pop off the left front that they wanted to get before he left. I want to check it, and we'll also check the video. But something happened on the left front just before he left the pit stall.
Okay, let's take a look here, Alan.
Oh, that's so heads up. So heads up on Chad's part.
Lug nut.
Yep. Only had 4 tight. They want all 5 of them tight.
Ready. Stop. Get him. Go. Outside one.
Well, tell you what, made a mistake, but caught it. See how that plays out. Going to cost Johnson a lot of positions on the track, plus that Earnhardt car stayed out.
Clear up. Watch Tony, you're clear.
All the way out. All clear. 4,000, all the way, 4,000. Middle back, they want to go and get back in. 10-4. We got a couple that's staying out. The first 2 cars in the queue there, and 2 of our teammates in there, 52.
Sniper's coming up on your inside, 3 cars back. Coming up on you now. Have been a bunch more. Inside.
.400 from the Homestead Miami Speedway on NASCAR in-car. Only available on digital cable.
Jr. and Martin Truex Jr. did not pit. Jimmy Johnson restarts 16th. Matt Kenseth restarts 5th.
Junior's going to try to duck to the high side. I mean, his car's been better. Actually, his car's been flying on older tires. Look at this mess.
Menard is at the tail end of the lead lap and trying to stay there.
Don't think it's going to be for long.
Nope. Menard in the 15.
And the second place car is the one of Truex Jr. He gets on inside of Sorensen and takes that position away. And I don't think Menard will give him a big struggle. All three of those cars, the 8, the 1, and the 15.
4 wide right there with Kenseth part of it. Boy, the restarts are where these guys are holding their breath.
Yeah. There's Truex, the one card. Trying to get by the 15. Ooh, a little bit of wiggle there, Mark. Got a little loose. Really would like to get a break from that 15 car. And where comes Robbie Gordon just diving down into the corner.
Looking for Jimmy Johnson here.
Yeah, I'll guarantee you Truex is looking for a little bit of a break there from Menard.
Johnson back in the 16th spot. Carl Edwards in front of him.
Although Robbie Gordon, he's racing hard to be the lucky dog.
Boy, they're racing all over the place right now.
A green car, Burger King, is Bill Elliott, driving for Michael Waltrip Racing.
Elliott scored in the 34th spot.
You know, Wally, it looks to me like that Chad, Jimmy, and the crew decided to set the car up to run on the bottom. There's less trouble, I think, down there than there is up around the wall.
Yeah, well,
does that make sense?
Yeah, well, normally, the longer you go on a racetrack like this, you slide up the racetrack or you start pushing. Most guys really start pushing here, so you may be right. The bottom is the safest place. That's where the least amount of cars will be.
Boy, in traffic there. Keep an eye on Johnson and check with Marty.
And Bill, a few minutes ago, that was Kyle Busch up there mixing it up for the lead. What happened, Kyle?
I don't know. I was trying to race with those guys, and I just got loose getting in the corner for some reason. We hadn't had loose all day, and finally right there just decided to get loose into one, and it tail slapped and then front slapped the first time, and then going into one the next time by the brake rotor broke, had no brakes, just went straight in. So the 8 car got by the 20 pretty easily, but I guess he's upset about me talking bad about him last week. So look forward to Daytona 500 in 2007.
All right, they are going to try to get this 5 car back out on the racetrack, Bill.
If you're a Jimmy Johnson fan, man, you are on the edge of your seat. Who was that? It was Vickers and Stewart.
Tony Stewart, yeah, 3 wide. Stewart bounced off the wall just a little bit. Jimmy was all the way down at the bottom. It's like, I need to get out of this mess.
Johnson around Stewart there. Stewart is not on the lead lap. Currently scored 32nd, 1 lap down. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the race leader by 0.8 of a second. 1 win this season came at Richmond. Came in today 5th in the championship standings, chasing his 2nd win of the year and his 1st title.
inside. Still there, clear. Clear all around. Clear all around. Clear by half.
Couldn't get there. Pay off our singular race talk question real quick here. What was the biggest story of 2006? Denny Hamlin. Rookie won both races at Pocono, made the chase, and is still in contention for the Nextel Cup.
I can't get these people to agree with me to save my life.
Would you vote?
I thought Keane winning all those races this year was a big story.
Come on, BP.
That's a big story. But Denny Hamlin's been a pretty fun story.
He's...
There's the leader. Here comes Biffle. Looking for the lead.
Just can't get that grip coming up off the corner he needs.
He'll make a lot of friends if he passes Earnhardt for the lead, won't he, BP?
Oh, man, I tell you, I'd hate to do that here with a sea of red. But that's his job. He went up, I think Biffle went up to the top of the racetrack a couple of laps and tried to run Earnhardt's line, but as he is now. But I think his car likes to be on the bottom, kind of like Jimmy Johnson's.
Boy, Earnhardt has been extremely strong here this afternoon. Closing in on the halfway mark here in the Ford 400. Let's do a contenders through the field here, starting with that 8 car, Dave.
And Bill, he came into today 115 points out of the championship lead. It would take a miracle for him to win the championship. The 4 guys in front of him would have to have trouble. But the other part of that, he's got to run well. And they've done their part. That car's very fast. We saw it come through the field on its own. And Earnhardt continues to hold down that lead. Marty?
Well, Dave, currently Matt Kenseth is in the 7th position on their last stop. But it was actually a 2-tire stop. They made a chassis adjustment. You know, he said he's not keeping an eye on the 48 today. That's kind of hard to believe that he wouldn't be watching the 48, the guy he's trying to beat for the championship.
Nah, because it really don't matter. I mean, unless they have a big problem, you know, we're not going to beat them. So, you know, if they have a problem, obviously, we'll keep an eye on everybody else where they're at. The guys are close to us. But we're going to go out and try to run hard, and hopefully we can get a good finish out of it.
Right now, he's in front of the 48, but not far enough ahead of the 48 just to keep the championship, to gain the championship lead. Kevin Harvick's car is much better than it was earlier in the race. He had talked about being down on horsepower. Now they've made it back into the top 10. He said, guys, handling-wise, we're a lot better. We need a little bit more. He said, you know what? We're just excited to be part of the conversation at this point in terms of the championship. Right now, they're in 10th. Matt?
Denny Hamlin has just climbed up 2 spots to the 11th position. Mike Ford told me at the beginning of this race, they are not going to let this race, one way or another, dictate how they look back on this season. What a season it was. Started out winning the Budweiser shootout and then scored 2 wins at Pocono. Right now, they're just trying to get him the honor of being the first Virginian in 43 years to score the championship. But either way, this has been a successful season. They can't wait for 2007, AB.
Well, it's not been a carefree day for the man who leads the championship coming into the race, Jimmie Johnson. Earlier, popped a piece of debris off of Kurt Busch's car after a crash, fell back to 40th getting repairs, then had a lug nut fall off on the last pit stop. It dropped him to 16th. You see he's moved up to 13th since we've gone back racing. Jimmy's not saying much about the handling of his car on the radio right now. Perhaps we've reached that spot in the race he talked about with us in our pre-race interview, where he finds a good spot to ride in line and just log some laps.
And Alan, you're right, he is in a good spot because he clinches if he finishes 13th or better. And right now he is 13th. And he has not been as rapidly picking up positions as he did earlier in the race.
That's because the fast cars have all worked their way to the front. Right. Slower cars kind of work their way to the back. So the sledding is a little tougher now.
Elliott Sadler is in front of him in the 12th position. That's the 45 of Kyle Petty. Kyle is a lap down in the 28th position, and Kyle trying to hang on in the top 35 in owner points. Earnhardt Jr. now a 1-second lead over Greg Biffle.
And once again, as we've seen the last 3 or 4 races, as the sun starts to set, these guys are driving into the sun, and you see the visibility practically non-existent, except at least that they are shielded down in the corner. It's just mainly the straightaway that is in the sun.
Yeah, look at that. There's a car right in front of Jeff Burton right there. You could hardly see it when he got in front of there. Now, you'll notice it looks like Earnhardt's got a little tape on his windshield where Burton doesn't.
See this?
But they also, I think most of these guys are running dark visors right now, or at least tear-offs that are dark that they can pull off as it gets darker. Lights come on, you can pull those off, but it's tough driving down there.
And you were talking about Burton not being able to see. That's exactly what Tony Stewart said last week.
Right, with Jamie McMurray.
Right. Said I really didn't realize I was there until I had him off the ground. Earnhardt Jr. out front in Homestead.
That's pathetic. find anything. Just gonna push. Trying. I'm too far forward now. 33.5. Let's go on the lap.
th or better gets it done for Johnson today. Dale Earnhardt Jr. continues to lead, now 3.7 seconds over Greg Biffle. Then it's Martin Truex Jr., David Gilliland, and Casey Kane. And Earnhardt is just a little bit out of sync with basically the rest of the cars on the lead lap. Dave?
And just a quick update on how that car is running, as if it isn't obvious, still being out front there. Better in the middle of the corner. That was good for Junior. Lap 171 is what crew chief Tony Eury Jr. tells me they need to be on pit road. That's about 8 or 9 laps earlier than everyone else will need to pit, Bill.
Thanks, Dave. Longest run today from lap 46 to lap 107. Junior basically stopped about 9 laps before the rest of the guys running on the lead lap. Earnhardt and Truex Jr. stayed out under a caution when the rest of the leaders pitted. But his car has been extremely stout. His fuel window's just going to close a little sooner than the rest of the guys running up front. It's Earnhardt, Biffle, Truex Jr., David Gilliland, and Casey Kane, your top 5. This has been an impressive run for that 8 car this afternoon. Earnhardt runs out front, chasing the win here in the Ford 400.
Water temperature. 320. Thank you. Oh, Tim, about 250. Yes, sir. Inside, June. Sir, 4.5 second lead. Go pick about 10, Tony Jr. 171, Steve. 15 laps.
Caution's out, caution's out.
How was your car at the end right there?
A little bit tight off. Entry to center was
could have come under the green. Junior and Truex Jr. just a little out of sync with the rest of the cars on the lead lap. Reed Sorensen in the 41 car is the lucky dog. Sterling Marlin has gone to the garage.
I think he had an engine situation. You know, he was battling Kyle Petty for 35th in car owner points. That will not happen. Kyle Petty will go to Daytona 500 with a guaranteed spot. He will race in the Daytona 500, and you know he has to be thrilled to death.
There's your buddy.
So Mike.
There's the Budweiser crew, led by Tony Uri Jr. The guys Robbie Reiser sends over the wall to work on Matt Kenseth's car. All these guys getting ready for a critical pit stop here under caution. Denny Hamlin's crew for Mike Ford, his crew chief. And Earnhardt will lead the parade onto the access road, then down pit road. It's Earnhardt, Martin Truex Jr., Greg Biffle, David Gitterlin, then Casey Kane. Scott Riggs is 6th, then Boyer, Kenseth, Hamlin. Jimmy Johnson is 10th, Kevin Harvick 11th. There are 20 cars on the lead lap. When Sorensen comes around, he'll be the 21st car. Time to go to work on pit road. Marty.
And Bill, here comes the big swing at it from Matt Kenseth's team. He said the car right now not good enough to keep up with those leaders. It gets too tight too early in the run. They're going to pull half of a spring rubber from the left rear tire, half of a pound out of the left rear tire, and a half pound in the right rear tire. Big changes for the 17, Matt.
Denny Hamlin will hit his box in the 9th position, says the car is almost wrecking loose at the beginning of the run, so they're going to try to bring him back a little bit so they don't lose as much time at the beginning of the run. It was so strong near the end. AB.
Wanted Jimmy Johnson to stop short in his pit box. He'll have to swing around. Scott Wimmer to exit. Chassis adjustment to help the center of his corner, and a 4-tire change on the 48, Dave.
8 car deciding, let's leave it alone at least until the sun goes down, but he's going to lose time. Lost time on the right side, and he'll lose spots, guys.
Wow. Lost several spots. Truex Jr. Kane picks up 3 positions. Here's the race off of pit road. Martin Truex Jr., then Casey Kane, then Biffle. Looking for the 8. Still looking. There he goes.
That's what we're about, guys. No mistakes. Damn it, we got to get our head in this. Bring it back down. Got to get that left front tight. At this time. Nice and smooth means nice and smooth. We don't need a 10-second stop. We need to make sure we don't screw up. Second gear, 3800, pit road speed start. Now, remember to talk him in, Mike. 10-4, 15 will be in. Okay, 5 away, right over here on the left. Go ahead and hit the rest of them, Donnie. Okay, clear one lane, 25 outside, all clear. All clear to all, second gear, 3800.
It only took us 170 laps to get where we were at. Now we got to start all over.
10-4. Got 104 laps left. Right there, you're better than most of these guys in front of us. 20 cars on the lead lap here. Should restart behind the 6, I believe it is. It'll be 1 to go when you get here. 1 to go.
NASCAR Nextel Cup takes more than coolant in the engine. It requires ice in the veins. The chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup.
Field has gotten the 1-to-go signal here at Homestead. Take a look at our Craftsman pit summary, and you'll see the big loser here, Dale Earnhardt Jr. went in first, came out 7th. Kenseth picked up some spots. Jimmie Johnson picked up 1 spot. He'll restart 9th. Field just moving out of the backstretch. We can go back and look at that pit stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and company.
It looks like they've had trouble getting that right rear off. And that's where the hang-up, you see the front tire changers all the way around waiting for the jack guy to pump the jack up. What happened there, Dave?
At least one lug nut that was on super tight, and he had to hit it again to get it to come off. That's, you know, obviously you have to take off all 5 before you can pull that wheel off. And the rear tire changer had to hit it a couple of times before one of those lug nuts would release.
Thanks, Dave. Update on the 11 from Matt.
Bill, the big loser on that round of pit stops, Denny Hamlin, had to make a return visit. 2 lugs were still loose on that left front.
Hamlin will restart 19th. 21 cars on the lead lap. Martin Truex Jr. is the race leader. Then it's Kane, Biffle, Riggs, and Kenseth Johnson is in 9th. Boy, Johnson gave plenty of room to Clint Boyer. Truex Jr. in the 1 car. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., who has a very fast race car, is now going to have to work his way through traffic from the 7th spot.
And Jamie McMurray in that 26 car.
Yeah, he's going to get run over.
He's in a bad situation. He's in the middle of the racetrack. Fast cars all around him, and finally gets down to the inside. I was concerned about him.
Well, the problem is, Junior, you know, it's going to take a while for him to pick through all these guys right now. In the meantime, the leader's going to get a good jump on him, so just have to see how fast he gets through traffic, but that's going to hurt him a little.
Looked like Menard was a little loose there coming out of the turn.
Casey Kane, that 9 car, has taken away the position from Biffle in the 16.
Robbie Gordon in that 7 car is the first car 1 lap down, so he's racing for the Lucky Dog Award right now. Kane to the high side. Whoa. Biffle looks low. Hang on, Robbie.
Yeah, Gordon's loose. Big time.
Matt.
Bill, a rough Martinsville, Charlotte, and Atlanta for Martin Truex Jr., but ending the year like he started. Strong top 20 runs. Right now, he says the car was tight early. Needed help down in the shaded area, down in turns 1 and 2. That's where the car needed to cut a little better. But right now, great stops by the Bass Pro guys, and he is out front and starting to yard the competition a little bit, Dave.
Matt, Casey Kane had a little trouble during that last run with the loose race car, and he was not able to run in traffic. If he ran up on the high line, he ran well until he was in traffic. On the low side, he was a little bit tight, but by the time he came down pit road for changes to the car, the reason they didn't need any. So 4 fresh tires, but he would like to be in clean air.
Matt Kenseth in that 17 car. In 5th.
You know, it's a shame that this isn't just a normal race. It isn't the final race of the season, because David Gilliland in 38 is not getting the credit he's due. But he's not the story today, unfortunately. Jimmie Johnson, Matt Kenseth Jr., those guys battling for the championship, they are the story.
You just gave him his due.
Okay, David, you're doing a great job.
Running in the 6th spot in that 38 car. Kenseth trying to get around Riggs. That would put Matt in the 4th spot. Martin Truex Jr. is the race leader in the Ford 400.
Oh. Inside. Inside, Junior. 10-4, we got you loose. For fuck, say something for crying out loud. Gates in the wall up in front of you there, no caution. Here. Yellow's out, yellow's out. Got one from the fence, you want it? Real loose in. Still tight in the center, loose off. Loose in, tight in the center, loose off. Are we on the same page? I'm on the same page. I ain't even touching the tires, ain't making an adjustment, it gets loose, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Pit crew sucks, everything sucks. I just don't know what to tell you. I'm trying to... You're exactly right. Boy, you should have been out of shape, man. Been out of shape here. They you my ass or something, and I'm not doing it. I'm just pissed off. Alright, so you knew that I was loose. I didn't want you to think I was just riding around giving up spots for the hell of it. I know you wouldn't do that. Trust me. I know you got your hands full. Just bear with it and do what we can do. Hey, you got but about 100 laps, bro. You go hunt and do all you're going to do there.
Reese's. Caramel. You got.
So I'll also stay in the middle of the track.
Yeah,
only from Sprint. NBC Thursday.
Nobody's getting back on that bus.
Don't move.
You're out of your mind.
I am trying to keep her alive.
That bus is unstable.
A powerful ER for Thanksgiving. Thursday on NBC.
Last weekend, 9 fans fulfilled their dream to compete on the track at Homestead Miami Speedway. As winners of the Built Ford Tough Race to the Dream Championship, they took to the track in their Ford Fusion. Then they jumped into America's toughest truck, the Ford F-Series, for some serious competition. It was close, but in the end, Matt Walker from Forest Grove, Oregon won it all. Congratulations to Matt, America's Built Ford Tough Fan Champion. And Matt was one of over 60,000 fans nationwide to enter the contest. Field getting the 1 to go. How about the conditions here?
Well,
it's changing track.
We don't have to worry about the sun anymore.
That's
as far
right.
as the glare.
It's starting to go down, but the racetrack is going to be an ever-changing evolution for the next, till the end of the race, as a matter of fact. And we go inside our Home Depot virtual garage and show the favorite way these teams use to make adjustments on the car. It's the rear track bar. They turn that down or up to adjust the chassis. If the car starts getting loose, they put a wrench back there. They turn that bolt down. They lower the track bar, which tightens the car up off the corner. Reverse, if you go up with it, it will loosen the car off the corner. But it's a favorite way these guys use, and we've seen them use it several times a day to make an adjustment.
Top 13 cars did not pit. It's Martin Truex Jr., Casey Kane, Greg Biffle, Matt Kenseth, and Scott Riggs. Jimmy Johnson runs in the 6th position in the 48 car. If he finishes 13th or better, he's the Nextel Cup Series champion. 21 cars on the lead lap. Casey Mears was the lucky dog.
Oh. I knew Robbie Gordon was going to do that.
Down low in that 7 car.
That's Juan Pablo Montoya in a 30 car in the middle. Menard on the inside of him.
He's going to be in the middle for a while now. Gets to the high side. Almost too high. Kane runs second. It's Biffle in the 16 is third. Again, Robbie Gordon in that 7, 1 lap down. Working like a dog to get the lucky dog.
Yeah, he has been. He's been trying real hard these last few restarts to even get his lap back. Not only just be the guy, but ooh, he slides up almost into Casey Kane.
Menard high also.
He almost got the wall off turn 2, talking about Paul Menard.
There's Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Talk about guys that are having a good day. That 07, Clint Boyer got his hands full right there, though.
07, Boyer had to start at the rear of the field because of an engine change.
He's in the 7th position, Boyer is. There's Jimmy Johnson right in front of him, Matt Kenseth. Update on the 48 from Allen.
Now, Bill, you talked about the 13 cars that did not pit on that last stop. The call to not pit there came from the cockpit of the championship leader's car.
Buddy, I'm thinking we come in and take 2. What do you think? Yeah, obviously stay out. Buddy, I gotta leave that up to you. You guys tell me how good you think your car is. We're all staying out. That's what I was gonna say. I would stay out. Jimmy, you have no idea, dude. I got 3 guys up here all looking at me with different ideas. Tough. Yeah, man, I'm with you. You made the right call Monday morning.
Made the right call Monday morning, yeah.
Isn't it tough, though? These crew chiefs now face extremely difficult calls to make. Track position versus tires. Remember, we saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. stay out on a few laps older tires and hold his track position with a good car. As the conditions change temperature-wise, like you guys talked about, and we get closer to the end of the race, strategy could be huge in deciding who finishes where in this thing.
Jimmy Johnson chasing his first, what could be his first Nextel Cup Series champion. That's Matt Kenseth in the 17, who's second in the championship standings. You heard that rapport between Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus. At the end of last year, that rapport wasn't there. And car owner Rick Hendrick caught on to it.
You know, I think all of them were special in a certain way. You know, each one had the first one, seeing Terry win his. But I think for the loss we suffered back at the Martinsville crash, just seeing Jimmy blossom and run so well and come up short, and this year to see the organization kind of having to fill a lot of holes, and for all the cars to win races, all of them to win poles, 3 of them to be in the top 10, and then Jimmy to cap it off after being so close. I'd say this has got to be one of the best years we've ever had and one of the most special championships.
Had a chance to talk with Rick on Friday. That was in the interview. I asked him about his championship chances this year. He had talked earlier in the week on a national teleconference with the press that every championship is special. And when I asked him if this one would have a little different meaning, that was his response. Of course, rebounding from the tragedy they had in 2004 and Jimmy just missing the championship by 8 points to Kurt Busch. Right now, Johnson 59 points in front of Matt Kenseth, and he runs in the 7th spot. This is the race for second. Casey Kane has it. Greg Biffle thinking about trying to take it away. That's Evernham against Roush right there. Jimmy Johnson played water polo and was on the swim team in high school. Right now, he's on the racing team trying to win the title.
Clear. Side. Clear. Looking, outside, outside. Here, come on up, stay low, in front of us.
To those who say
Yeah, that was 10 laps. That was the car right there.
I was in the middle. But after on the restart, we was actually handling pretty good. Luke is gone.
idea. If we can make it better,
Four tires. Foot is open. This one is open.
Actually, I think it started in front of him.
Yeah,
Marty,
Matt Kenseth running 5th, hits pit road pretty quickly. He said this is the closest we've been all day long, but I need to be a little bit looser. I'm concerned, though, about making this thing, quote, a little too cattywampus, meaning a little too loose. They're going to pull the final spring rubber they have from the left rear spring, trying to tighten and loosen that car up just a little bit, Alan.
Center of the screen, Jimmie Johnson told his crew chief Chad Knaus, I'm just hanging out. My car's pretty good. So just 4 tires, no adjustments. Dave?
What the 8 car really needs this time is a good, clean pit stop. No change, air pressure change actually for Junior. Car was getting tight in the center of the corner. They will change 4. He will leave his pit box. Not too bad, but a lot of cars out in front of him.
Yeah, going to be some pit strategy playing out here. Truex Jr., the leader. Mark Martin, Casey Mears using pit strategy. Carl Edwards picking up a bunch of spots. We'll sort out the running order when we come back. Less than 80 laps to go in the Ford 400 with the 2006 NASCAR Nextel Cup Championship on the line.
I ain't never seen anything that fast. Passed me like I was standing still. He just blew right by me.
Nothing else I can do. Just too fast.
What?
Just drive. How can something that small be that fast?
Rapid release gels. Man.
What's 16 doing back here? His car just bad off after the sun went down too. I actually wasn't even noticing him. The only thing really that went on when my car started getting free as hell on new tires now. I don't know what that was, but the tightness in the center was a little bit of a worry. The first 6 or 8 cars are just right, Tony Jr. Info. One to go, June. Car's coming. They turned them lights on a little late, didn't they? Look, I need headlights. Still have your dark shield tear off on? Still nobody. Okay, that's cool.
You are watching the Ford 400 from the Homestead Miami Speedway on NASCAR In-Car. Only available on digital cable.
In front of them. They run 1-2 in the championship standings. The top 5 drivers here did not pit. Elliott Sadler, Jeff Burton, David Stremme, Joe Nemechek, and Reed Sorensen.
That's because everyone has to pit one more time. So they're just trying to get some track position, try to get the best position, finish position they can.
Juan Montoya was the lucky dog. 22 cars rather on the lead lap. Sadler in the 19 is the race leader. This is when it gets adventurous.
Exactly.
Tony Raines in that 96. Jeff Burton in the 31. He's second.
Ooh, the 90s. Man, that 96 car, Tony Raines was loose, slid up the racetrack.
Tony Stewart is 24th in that 20 car. He's one lap down. Well, David Stremme high up the track.
Okay, now Stewart's trying to get by Paul Menard. In case the caution comes out, that's his position right there for the lucky dog.
As a matter of fact, all 4 of those cars. Oh, Vickers don't hit the 96.
Nice job avoiding it. Jeff Gordon, another car that has struggled today. He runs in 27th, one lap down. Looking for Jimmy Johnson. Runs in the 15th spot. Kenseth in the 17.
Oh, look at that mess in front of him.
Gosh. This is making him nervous. Chad Knaus nervous. Rick Hendrick nervous. Every one of them.
It's making you nervous, BP?
That's why I think Jimmy, I think he's just trying to ride a little bit right here. Wait till things settle down a little bit. All right, forget that. It's time to go.
On the bumper of Harvick. There's Greg Biffle in the 16, who's been strong all day. Chad Knaus, crew chief for Jimmy Johnson. Worked under Ray Evernham, who was the crew chief for Jeff Gordon on the 24 car. Biffle trying to latch onto the bumper of Johnson, now goes up high. And that's where, you think that's where Jimmy wants to be, BP, down there?
I think he wants to be on the bottom of the racetrack. I just believe there's less trouble down there than there is on top.
He moves over, Biffle goes by, Dave.
And Bill, Biffle should not be back here. He entered pit road in the 3rd position, but when Scott Riggs came around to get into his pit stall, he knocked a tire out of the tire carrier's hands, the front tire, and so that cost him a lot of time and put Biffle back in traffic.
So Biffle trying to pick his way through the field. Jimmy Johnson trying to play it as safely as possible. There's Elliott Sadler. He's leading the race. Pit strategy paying off for that 19 car for Evernham Motorsports.
No matter where you are, no matter how fast you go, what's inside will show everything. Every car.
A lot of sparks out front of that 48, Jim. They're high. Five laps to go, clear by 2. get back to the top. Clear. Now we got to find my line up there. That bottom ain't gonna work. We hear you, Jen. Get into the ship on the first fairway. Caution is out, caution is out. Stop, get him. Go.
NBC Sports live in Homestead, Miami for the season finale of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. And the caution has just come out for that car, the 49 of Mike Bliss.
The way he makes that left turn would lead you to believe that the engine expired on that car. Now then, this is a pit stop that really means something because they can make it
Could be the last one.
way.
Yep.
That 20 car right there, Tony Stewart, the lucky dog. He'll come around, be the 23rd car on the lead lap. So this could be the last chance to make your car as good as possible for a run to the checkered flag here. Jimmy Johnson will pit from the 15th position. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is real important not to make a mistake on this pit stop.
Driver or crew.
Right.
And that strategy that Elliott Sadler, Jeff Burt, Strimmy, they used worked to perfection. Marty,
MVP Robbie Reiser has still not told Matt Kenseth whether this will be a 2 or 4 tire stop, but Robbie did tell everyone, make sure we get it packed full of fuel. Still hasn't said 2 or 4. 2 at the last second call for Robbie Reiser. No changes to the 17. Matt?
Denny Hamlin on the top of your screen. 2 tires for the 11 driver. He was developing a little bit of a miss on exit. The catch came in signaling that he is full of fuel. AB.
You caught a little bit of the radio from Chad Knaus to his crew, reacting to what Robbie Reiser did with Matt Kenseth. Just a right side tire change for Jimmy Johnson. They wanted to keep an eye on where Kenseth was when they made this stop.
Wow. That really shuffled things up a little bit, didn't it? Casey Kane wins the race off of pit road. We'll sort out the running order when we come back. Be about 59 to go when we put the green back.
The lucky dog coming to your outside. If you didn't want to have to worry about getting like debris on the grill, then why would you throw your turret off out the windshield and not just follow it up, stick it to a roll bar or something? Smart thing. I see fucking tear offs everywhere now.
One to go. There'll be 58 laps to go when you get the green. Do the best you can here. If you haven't already switched batteries, you may want to try that also. That car is coming up. He asked if you wanted to switch boxes. Are we going to get an answer on that, or? Car going green this time. Be ready to make sure they're cleaned up. He's getting ready to answer you. Did not hear. Did not hear. To switch boxes. Yes, 10-4. Switch boxes. Don't switch coils. Pace car is in.
Tires on the pit stop.
A lot of traffic here. Casey Kane, Scott Riggs, the first two cars, fuel only on that stop.
And I said that everyone couldn't make it the rest of the way. For some cars, it may be touch and go. Yeah.
Just 60 to go?
60 to go. I talked to the 9 car this morning, Kenny Francis, the team director. How many laps can you run? He said 60.
Well, that's close enough to try.
Yeah, it's close enough to try. You're right.
And he's using all his fuel right now. Riggs trying to get to the lead.
He was clear for a second.
Those are teammates right there, the 10 and the 9. Scott Riggs in the 10, Casey Kane in the 9. Matt Kenseth is right behind them. Right now, Kenseth 41 points behind Jimmy Johnson. Johnson runs in the 9th spot.
Scotty had him cleared, but since it's a teammate, he's trying not to force issue.
I think that was Paul Monaro that got the wall there a little bit. 15 car.
He's been rehearsing that for a little while.
Scott Riggs, a 10 car, has never won a NASCAR Nextel Cup event.
His teammate Casey Kane has 6 wins this season.
Those guys had a really bad start of the year. They missed a Daytona 500, Scott Riggs, and here he is at the end of the season racing for the lead. Nice turnaround. Dave?
Hey, well, I remember earlier I told you these cars are built the same, but they have different setups under them. Both of them love clean air. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Neither one of them took tires on that stop so they could get out front. The 9 car especially reporting that it just won't handle in traffic. I got to be out front. 10 car, same story.
Casey Kane in that 9 car has led 89 laps today.
Boy, Biffle took 3rd, and what happened to Kenseth? He was right there, and all of a sudden he's falling back about 15, 20 car lengths. Biffle's going to say, well, I mean, there's no room up top, so he's got to try the bottom.
And that's the line that he's been using with that 16 car most of the day.
And that thing looked loose there.
Biffle and Riggs for 2nd. Biffle has it, and now we'll try and chase down Kane for the lead.
I'll tell you what, it looks like Greg Biffle has a very good race car, and if he can get that 16 in front and get that clean air, that will certainly help him, make him even faster.
Guess what?
He's in front.
And he's got clean air.
Well, he's got to drift up in a hurry, though.
Got to get up there quick.
Because if he doesn't slam that door, which he did, that 9 car was going to be there. Dave, 16's out front.
And did you say loose, Wally, on the 16?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, they loosened him up just a little bit on that stop. Just a slight wedge adjustment. Changed that chassis to help the car turn a little better. And he took on 2 tires. So he has fresh right side tires where the 10 and the 9 don't.
So Biffle leads Kane and Riggs. Kenseth has slipped to 4th. Denny Hamlin is 5th. Update on Kenseth from Marty.
Well, guys, you were talking about fuel, and I think it's a slight concern for Matt Kenseth, just like Jimmy Johnson. Robbie Reiser got on the radio with Matt as soon as he pulled off pit road, said, save me all the fuel you can. This is one of the advantages of having the very first stall on pit road. You can dictate other people's strategy. That's why Robbie Reiser made the 2-tire feel like that may be an advantage for them over the 48. Matt?
Denny Hamlin was told they are 2 or 3 laps to the good as far as fuel, so that shouldn't be a concern. The other concern, though, is about the mist that he was talking about that they had developed shortly before that pit stop. He has swapped to the backup ignition box. He has said nothing since. He just has taken over the 4th position.
Jimmy Johnson in the 10th spot. That would lock up the title for him. 13th or better after leading a lap earlier in the race. Came in with a 63-point lead over Kenseth. Right now that lead 51 points and 51 laps to go in the Ford 400 at Homestead. Greg Biffle led 117 laps here in 2004 and won. Led 9 laps last year and won. He's led 4 laps today and he's leading.
Same thing in front of you. Clear low. Bumper. Inside. By 1. Clear low, clear by 1. Bumper, June, back bumper. Clear. By 1.
Atlanta. All right, reveal, I don't know.
Huh, Jeff Gordon, 1998. Was that the race that ended? No. Was that
Yes.
the race that ended at midnight?
Something like that, at 1 o'clock in the morning, yes.
It rained and then it stopped, and then it rained and then it stopped.
And they still did not complete 500 miles, I don't think.
I think you're right. Biffle out front on the track. Jimmy Johnson on top in the points, currently 56 ahead of Matt Kenseth. Kenseth runs in the 6th spot. Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 car. Jimmy's thinking about taking that position.
Alan, Junior's in the wall. In the wall is Junior.
Was running in the 10th position.
You live with that high line sometimes.
Yeah.
You fall on the sword.
Exactly. Sometimes it's just bound to happen. We haven't seen the right side of the car yet, so we don't know how much damage there is. Doesn't look too bad.
No, it certainly wasn't as bad as Kyle Busch or David Gilliland.
But not good.
But not good. No, it's not good.
Allen on the 48.
You know, we talked about Jimmie Johnson finding a place to ride earlier in the race, Bill, but he's talked on the last couple of cautions about having a good race car. We've seen Jimmy pick up some spots since the restart here, and he looks like he might be feeling his oats a little bit as we get closer to the finish. He's made a couple of really aggressive passes since we went back racing too, and he's got himself in the 9th spot right now and moving up.
Been an adventurous day, but so far so good for Jimmie Johnson. Started in the 15th spot, runs 9th, 56 points ahead of 2nd place Matt Kenseth. On the track, it's Biffle, Kane, Riggs, Hamlin, and Sadler as the sun sets on the 2006 season.
Clear by 1. Inside. Come inside, Jim. Low, clear by 1. 3 cars back there, Jim. Inside. Side. Back bumper. Side. Clear. Back bumper. Inside.
Tonight, Chargers, Broncos. Sunday night football. It all starts with Bob, Chris, Sterling, and the Bus on Football Night in America coming up tonight right here on NBC. Beautiful evening here in South Florida. Greg Biffle is the race leader. Been a frustrating season for Biffle. Finished 2nd in the championship a year ago. There you see, 24 races since his last win. His only win this season at Darlington. Finished tied for second in the championship standings in 2005.
Well, it looks like that Biffle was able to adjust on that car and get it with those two tires as good as it's been all day long, all day and night.
And this car's been good to him. You touched on that earlier.
Same car that's won the last two Homestead Miami Speedway races, the Ford 400s.
Matt Kenseth in that 17 car. Meanwhile, Jimmy Johnson continues to pursue the championship tonight here in Homestead. Alan, what are you working on?
A fuel story, Bill.
There are a lot of those out there, aren't there?
Yeah, the leaders stopped with 61 laps to go in the race. We restarted with 58 to go. Fuel being 60 to 65 laps for a lot of these teams. I just talked to Chad Knaus, Jimmy Johnson's crew chief. He said they are good to go to the finish on fuel. Now that's to the scheduled finish. I did not ask Chad if we get a green-white checker, but that's always something to keep in mind too. That would make it interesting, huh?
It sure would.
Man, just think a big crash. It would take 4 or 5 caution laps at the end of the race, and then go green-white checker. A lot of guys, you're right, would not make it, Alan. Good point.
You see the ticker not running at the top of the screen. NASCAR timing and scoring is presently not functioning correctly. Hopefully we'll get that fixed shortly. Not that far from the finish here in Homestead, Greg Biffle is the race leader.
And 2 back bumper. Cars inside you. Here. By 1. By 3.
Project and a beautiful chance.
Still inside, still there, clear. He's going to stay up high so you can have...
Still there, clear all around.
Car at one point was running about 20th on the racetrack. Now he's up in the top 6 right now. The car very good for Harvick. He said nothing about it. Fuel-wise, they're good to go to the end. Alan?
Jimmy Johnson running very solidly in 8th position, has his championship pursuers in sight in front of him and around him. His crew chief, Chad Canals, if a caution should come out, is going to face one of those decisions. Tires, track position, what do they do? Do they pit? Do they not pit? As the laps in this race run out, he's not going to be able to rest easy until this car takes the checkered flag at the end of 400 miles. Dave?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. was hoping for better today. A mistake on pit road got him angry at his crew. A car that wouldn't work right got him angry at the car, and then he's mad at himself because he hit the wall, and now we've got more trouble, Bill.
Ryan Newman is around on the backstretch. Caution is out, 21 to go.
Just cut the grass.
See, the left rear tire has come apart on the 12 car.
Hey, Alan.
Yes, sir?
What were you saying about having to make decisions?
Yeah, now, they'll all pit because of the speed fall off on tires here. But what do? You know there's going to be some people that take just 2 tires here. There may be some people that don't stop at all. How far back do you take a chance on putting that 48 car now?
See, Ryan Newman, the 12 car, was that Montoya or the 42 of Mears? Hard to say. They look exactly alike from that angle. We'll bump them up, you think, Wally?
Well, I think what happened was Ryan Newman was on the bottom. We talked about 2 cars going into the corner too close. That was the situation when 2 cars were coming off the corner too close, and the 12 car Ryan Newman had no air on the rear spoiler, and it just spun him out.
9th caution of the race. So you've gone 35 races and 247 laps in this one. And now it comes down to a decision to be made on pit road with 20 to go in the final race of the year. Right now, Johnson with a 55-point lead over Matt Kenseth. Denny Hamlin is 72 points back. There's Hamlin's crew on the wall.
And Alan, you're right. They're all coming.
Yeah, BP. And Chad Canals is going to hear from the spotter on the roof, Earl Barbin, about what the 17 does, and that'll help make his call. Marty, what are they going to do?
Alan, this is where the crew chiefs make their big money. The final stop's most likely at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Matt Kenseth on pit road said, I need to be a little bit tighter for the end of this run. 2 tires, a last-second call, and a wedge adjustment. Matt?
2 tires.
And Denny Hamlin's team going to go for the 2-tire adjustment as well. 37 laps in his tires. I didn't think it would cool down enough to help him. He's away. AB.
After the spotter called that Matt Kenseth had got 2 tires, Chad Canals called to his team 2 tires. They take the rights, and out he goes, Dave.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to help his wounded race car. A little tug on the right front fender to pull away the damage. A little air pressure adjustment to help a car that is tight from the center off of the corner. 4 tires for Junior, and he finally leaves. A little extra work on the front end.
And they charge off of pit road under the lights at Homestead. Take a look at the race off of pit road. Greg Biffle, then Casey Kane, Hamlin, Kenseth. There's Jimmy Johnson, the championship leader.
Tuesday, 2 all-new Law & Orders, back-to-back.
Oh man, why you got a little speed going? Yeah, pretty much everybody back behind you got 2 tires also. Everybody's on even tires here, except for the 18. He stayed out. It'll be 1 to go when you get here. 1 to go.
Celebrate this fall in a special way. Visit Leavenworth, Washington.
You are watching the Ford 400 from the Homestead Miami Speedway on NASCAR In-Car. Only available on digital cable.
Getting ready to erupt.
Rick has won. There you go, BP.
Well, that's his brother, Jesse.
Yeah.
What did I say? His father, maybe?
I thought you said his brother.
Okay, good.
A little voice in your head telling you something different, BP?
Yeah.
Got to stop listening to those voices. Guess what? J.J. Yaley did not stop. He is the race leader. Jimmy Johnson restarts in the 6th position. He is 16 laps from the Nextel Cup Championship. And this could be his most nervous moments of the day.
Caution flag is back out, looks like.
Oh, hard crash. Juan Montoya.
You okay?
Well, you don't see that often, BP. The fuel cell erupts.
Well, this is Juan's first Nextel Cup Series start. Boy, he did a good job getting unhooked and getting out of there.
I heard him say someone took us out, but I don't know.
Take our first look. It's already underway there.
Man, he went in firewall deep, didn't he?
Certainly.
Rear firewall.
You're right, Wally. You don't see those things.
Yeah, they normally don't come apart like that. Still really can't tell. That happened early, too, like even before the corner.
That happened on the straightaway, didn't it?
Sure looked like it did. Paul Menard in the 15 car, we're being told, is the lucky dog. Jimmy Johnson runs in the 6th position, just a handful of laps away from his first NASCAR Nextel Cup Series championship.
Take a look at that, Junior. That thing, I ain't never seen a... Yeah, it sounded pretty hard from just here. Okay, it was light tubing. We're right under there. It shouldn't have done like that. What Pop said about his one at Memphis, and it's got this wedged out frame rails in the back. Said that fuel cell will go a whole lot further than just car than it normally does. Looked like somebody hooked him in the right rear, Tony Jr. going to stop y'all in 3 and 4. I'll stop you right in there. You got a car inside of you. He's giving you room. You can angle down. Angle it down some. Yes, 10-4, 10-4. Make sure you push all your switches down.
Competitive we've been, so I'm really proud of this race team and what they accomplished this year, and you know, we're just doing our best, and that's all you can ask.
You told the guys in the pre-race meeting today, you said keep focus on the fact that this has been a fantastic season, and no matter what happens tonight, whether we win the championship or not, this has been the season you guys wanted, correct?
Well, you know, the bottom line is everybody wants to win a championship, but only one car can win. So, heck, we've had a great year, and you know, just to contend for a championship is an honor already. So, you know, we just do our best, and that's all we can really ask.
You're not a very good loser, are you, Rob?
No, I'm a terrible loser. You know, but that's just the way life is, and I know I wish for this whole team it would be the other way around. The last 4 weeks have been tough because our performance hasn't been there, and that's pretty much my end of the deal, and I kind of let these guys down. But, you know, heck, we'll be back next year, and we'll be trying to win a Daytona 500 in a couple months.
And Bill, Robbie and I were talking earlier this morning about his dad. He lost him 1 year ago this weekend. And he said, you know, I thought about him this week quite a bit, especially on the anniversary of his passing. And he said, I know he would tell me the same thing he always told me. Son, go out, do the best you can, and no matter what you get out of the day, I'll be proud of you.
Yeah, Marty, when I walked into that meeting you guys were having this morning, and then Robbie was talking about, hey, you know, we'll do the best we can. If we get it, we get it. If we don't, we don't. And then what did he say? He said that's about $50,000 worth of therapy working right
Exactly,
there, right?
and I told him he didn't know the way to a therapist. Robbie's an old Wisconsin guy who doesn't need therapy, but he, you know, he is so proud of this race team, and I think that's what gets lost in these final few weeks. People think, oh, well, the 17 didn't run very well in the chase, but they were really one of the best cars all year long, and Robbie is really proud of his guys for how consistent they were all year long, and what he says was probably their best season overall.
4 wins for Matt Kenseth this year. He sits on the track second in the championship standings. Again, the race has been red flagged after a hard crash by Juan Pablo Montoya. We saw him climb out of his car in a hurry, and the cleanup continues down between turns 1 and 2. He has been checked and released from the infield care center. Jimmy Johnson started the day 63 points in front of Matt Kenseth and is 63 points in front of Matt Kenseth. Jimmy wins the championship. It would be the 6th for car owner Rick Hendrick. Jeff Gordon has 4 of them. Terry Labonte has 1. There is car owner Rick Hendrick, and Alan has had his pit stall today.
Yeah, Bill, you know, we talked on Countdown to Green earlier today at the start of our broadcast about the difficulties Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus went through last season when they suffered disappointment at not winning the title, and at some of the struggles and ups and downs they've had during this year. Rick Hendrick talked with me this morning about a meeting he had with Jimmy Johnson last night and really put the meaning of today in perspective. Today was about sport and about competition, but if it didn't work out for this 48 team, it wasn't everything. He said he told Jimmy Johnson today, this was last night, November 18th, 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with leukemia. We'll try the best we can. If it doesn't work out, it's not life or death. Now, if you're Jimmie Johnson and you're thinking you're going to have a case of the race day nerves, wouldn't that put things in perspective for you from the team owner?
You're not kidding.
And had a very tough struggle with that leukemia. Did Rick Hendrick. Spent about a year really going through some very, very aggressive treatments that made him feel awful. He wanted to stop 2 or 3 times. His doctor would not let him, said, you got to keep going. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and here we are trying to win a 6th championship.
Chad Knaus, the crew chief on the right there in the light colored cap. It's been Jimmie Johnson's only crew chief in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series, but wasn't his crew chief for the first 4 races this season after being suspended by NASCAR for a violation leading up to the Daytona 500. They say that made the team stronger. They had the right people in place so they could continue. Jimmie won the Daytona 500, then won 2 weeks later at Vegas, and now just a handful of laps away from the Nextel Cup championship. Marty?
Well, Bill, meantime, Formula One star Juan Montoya and soon-to-be Nextel Cup Series star Juan Montoya has come from the infield care center. What happened in that wreck, Juan?
I don't know. I think the 12 tapped me in the back, or I'm not sure which car tapped me. I don't care. You know, it's the Texaco Hubble in Dutch today worked really well. Everybody, you know, Chip Ganassi with Felix Sabatis did an awesome job for me. We proved we can run up there, and it's going to be hard, you know. That's what I said to the guys when I signed with Chip. You know, we're here to do business, but it's not going to be easy. You know, there's great guys out there, great drivers, and it was awesome racing.
You got a hug from team manager Tony Glover, who told you that you did a fantastic job. How would you rate your performance today?
I think it's been getting better and better race by race, so it's great. You know, racing yesterday gave me a lot of experience for today.
At one point, it was in the top 10 this afternoon, Bill, but he ends his night early here at Homestead.
Thanks, Marty. He's going to wreck some race cars, but he is going to be a blast to watch.
I talked to a spotter today, Timmy McKeechan from up in Canada. His dad came down with Earl Ross back in the 70s, and he said that the problem with spotting for Juan, the stuff that you learn on Friday night and Saturday night racing, he doesn't know. So he has to try to explain it to him exactly what's going on.
But I think one thing he does understand that this is a tough deal. Yeah. This is going to be the toughest thing he's ever been involved in as far as race-wise, because it's so competitive, and you don't intimidate these guys.
And I'm so impressed with the job he's done so
far. He's done a very good job.
Crew Chief Chad Knaus.
That's exactly what they need, the red flag to delay things.
Just to build the excitement a little bit. Jimmie and Chad have had an excellent season here in 2006. A lot of frustration last year, though, in the 2005 season. At times, it looked like they might go their separate ways after last season. I asked car owner Rick Hendrick earlier this week how bad things got between driver and crew chief.
I thought maybe they were going to go out behind the trailer a couple of times, but I think that it created a mutual respect and a feeling that as soon as they got to the point where they felt comfortable saying what was on their mind and not trying to be politically correct, you know, the chemistry was a ton better.
And this is before the race today. Chad Knaus, crew chief, Jimmie Johnson, driver. Chad definitely a type A personality. Jimmie, the more subdued California type B personality. Rick wanted to see each of them give a little bit. And that's what they've done. Jimmie extremely complimentary of Chad when I spoke with him on Friday up at Doral. They went through a lot last season. At times it was very, very tense. Now 14 laps away from the championship.
What do you think? You get one to go this time by?
Find out.
I hope so.
Red flag has been withdrawn. Caution back in the air.
I'll tell you one thing, Wally. They make these starters a lot better than they used to.
Yeah, not the truth, because once they sit there and they would heat sink and just, they'd never start.
Half the cars wouldn't start on the red flag condition.
Paul Menard, the lucky dog, gets to go around. Be the 22nd car on the lead lap. It's J.J. Yaley, Greg Biffle, Casey Kane, and Denny Hamlin. Matt Kenseth is 5th. Jimmie Johnson is 6th. Martin Truex Jr., David Stremme, Carl Edwards, Clint Bowyer, the top 10. $13 laps to go. They did not get the one to go there.
Plenty good on fuel, but as you guys get spread out, make sure you get your tires cleaned off.
Jimmy Johnson wishes it was 10 to go instead of 13 to go.
Having to worry about those lap cars.
Right.
Because this will be a double file restart.
Under NASCAR rules, you can restart double file until 10 laps to go. And then all the cars not on the lead lap have to fall back behind those cars, which currently we have 22 cars on the lead lap.
Maybe.
That's a little further story about Rick Hendrick, Bill. In my conversation that I had with him this morning, Rick told me, I said, you get pretty nervous during these things, don't you? He said, it drives me nuts. He said, I have to get up, I have to pace, I have to walk. Looking at Rick Hendrick up there now, he and Chad Knaus are the two tightest people on this pit box and in this group right now. And who can blame them? Rick has been up and down off his pit box a few different times today. Right now, he's going to wait out those nervous last laps to see if he's going to add another trophy to his collection. A trophy that he wants far more for the people who work on these race cars than he wants for himself.
Absolutely. He wants it for the organization, Hendrick Motorsports. Jimmy Johnson, teammate of Jeff Gordon, Brian Vickers.
All right, here we go. 1 to go.
At the 1 to go signal, there'll be 12 laps left now, 11 when we go back to green. Lights out on the pace car. J.J. Yaley is the race leader. And we thought the last restart would make Jimmy Johnson nervous. Obviously, this is a situation where he'll drive as safely but as solidly as he can, hoping nobody else makes a mistake.
Yeah, he's definitely worried about these restarts, especially when you've got a bunch of cars down on the inside that are a lap or more down. You've got a bunch of guys out there that are trying to make something happen. This is the last race of the year. This is the one that they're going to be thinking about. And Jimmy Johnson, he just wants to get through these next 12 laps just clean. That's all he wants to do.
He's got some hungry guys around him on the racetrack. J.J. Yaley looking for what would be his first Nextel Cup Series win. Greg Biffle, we talked about earlier, so successful last year, just one victory this year, runs in second. In the 7th spot, Martin Truex Jr. was great down here in testing, having a strong run tonight. Would like to try and use these final laps to see if he could pull off a miracle and get to the front. Be a lot of things happening when they put the green in the air here with 11 to go. Yaley, Biffle, Kane, Hamlin, and Kenseth. Jimmy Johnson finishes 13th or better. He clinches the Nextel Cup Championship. He will restart in 6th. Pace car heads for pit road. 11 to go when they put the flag in the air. Yaley brings them to the restart line.
Green flag.
Jimmy Johnson with a very patient restart.
I was going to say, see how Jimmy laid back there a little bit.
Battle for the lead. Here comes Biffle on the inside of Yaley. Has 2 fresh tires. Looks like he's got it.
Greg Biffle to the lead.
Casey Kane, he's wanting to get through this traffic in a hurry.
Oh, that's a big break for Biffle. Look at.
Oh, he's going to thread the needle.
Oh, he's going to go between them. Good job, Casey.
Kane to second. There's Jimmy Johnson. Gave up a position to Truex. Might lose another one here to David Stremme.
Who cares? He's worried about the war, not the battle.
Boy. Greg Biffle, the race leader. The driver from the 12 car and the crew chief from the 12 car to the NASCAR hauler after the race, please. That's the word from NASCAR. Inside of 10 to go for Jimmy Johnson. There's his teammate, co-car owner Jeff Gordon in the 24.
And he's got his back with just a few laps to go.
Had it.
Ah, look out.
Jeff's car just has not been that good today. 8 to go.
So Jimmy will let Harvick go.
Yeah, he's not gonna race anybody in these last 10 laps.
Smart driver, clear by 3.
He's in 8th, 13th or better clinches. And that's if Kenseth was to win. Right now, Matt's in the 5th spot. Johnson in great shape right now with 8 to go.
and Wally, he is exactly where he wants to be. No cars around him. Beautiful spot. This is paradise.
Yep. This is perfect.
In 2001, Johnson wasn't sure what direction his career was going to take. Was Biffle the race leader? Kane runs second. Hamlin and Yaley teammates for third.
And Biffle is a little bit quicker than Casey Kane. Wouldn't that be something to win 3 in a row at this place? Final race of the year.
And they've had a little bit of a dry spell. So. Uh-oh.
Casey Mears off the pace. His last ride in that car.
Motor blew up.
Caution is out.
Oh, man.
Caution is out. So Jimmy Johnson will have to live through it one more time. Only it will be a single file restart when we go back to green. Chad Canals, a little more water, please. Thank you. Throat's a little dry right now.
He appears calm, but that's not the case.
Not on the inside.
But your point about being a single file restart, that is just the best news Jimmy Johnson's had the whole race.
That was your point. I was just trying to draft off and go to the front.
Because I'm telling you, you see the 42 blowing up. You know, he'll be sitting there with Kenseth and Riggs and Harvick and guys there that he can trust racing with.
Darn.
He just wants this thing to be over.
He does. In 2001, Jimmy Johnson's driving in the Busch Series, wasn't sure what direction his career was going to take. Was in the Busch drivers meeting before the Busch race at Michigan. Decided he was going to ask Jeff Gordon for some advice on what to do about his career. Jeff invited him back to the team hauler after the Busch drivers meeting. Jimmy told him what he was thinking about. Jeff Gordon said, well, why don't you hang on? We're looking for a driver over at Hendrick, and you're the only name on the list. Jimmy said, he told me on Friday, he walked out of that hauler and said, what just happened in there? He had Jeff Gordon's number and was instructed to call him on Tuesday. He said he walked around all day Monday with his phone, making sure that he was really supposed to call Jeff Gordon on Tuesday. In 2002, he got the ride in that car for Hendrick Motorsports. He got the cars that Jeff Gordon had used in the 2001 season that took him to the series championship. They gave him Chad Knaus as a crew chief. They were expected to win, and they did, 13 races in. Every year he's finished in the top 5 in the championship standings. 2 years ago, he came up 8 points short. Right now, he's 64 points to the good. 4 laps away from the Nextel Cup.
But it's still not clinched.
Nope.
He's still got to finish.
Alan?
And just see if I can give you a little the flavor of what's going on between Jimmy Johnson in his race car and Chad Knaus up on his pit box. They're giving Jimmy a complete appraisal of the situation around him. Who's in front of him? Who's behind him? Who's racing for what? Just a discussion of Matt Kenseth and his race with Denny Hamlin for second in points. The spotter Earl Barvin said, Matt Kenseth's spotter says he's going to protect his spot to protect second in points. Chad telling Jimmy back he's going to race hard for everything he can get. They're warning him about Kevin Harvick. Remember earlier in the race he had a little, I will say, difficulty in a pass with Harvick, who I guess Jimmy would feel didn't cut him a lot of slack, telling him that Harvick will be restarting in front of him. And most of all, I think just trying to keep themselves all energized here and not get down over the dragging out of the end of this thing and get it over with.
But not only that, AB, but to keep them focused.
Yeah.
You don't want your mind to start wandering.
Right.
And all the information that they're getting, everything is killing time right now.
And this race was zipping along until about the last 20 minutes. And now we've had cautions and red flags. There's the crew. There's the crew chief. Keeping your head in the game with your heart in your throat. Saw Rick bending over just a few minutes ago, his hand to his forehead.
Like a migraine baby.
That's what I was thinking, headache time. You know, that's what happened when I won the championship back in '73. At the end of the day, I had the most massive headache I've ever had in my life.
But you gave everybody a headache that day.
I did, but...
What'd you do, wreck on lap 12 or 13? 13.
Did that have something to do with having no crush panels in your car for half the race, too?
I had no right side at all.
I think some of that was exhaust. Fumes, possibly.
All right, looks like there's going to be about 2 laps to go and this thing gets restarted. So the question is, can Jimmy Johnson hold on for the championship? The the Nextel Cup, and can Biffle hang on for the victory?
It will be the most cautious, conservative restart Jimmy Johnson has ever made in his life.
Don't break any transmissions. Don't shift fast. Nice, calm shift.
Matt, what are you working on?
Well, Bill, the other question, can Matt Kenseth hold on to that second spot in the championship standings? Because the 11 at this point is only 8 markers from overtaking Kenseth for that second position. Under the previous caution, Mike Ford said, go ahead and let it hang out. And he replied back, well, I've taken every 3 or 4 wide chance I can get today. He goes, we have been watching. So he goes, we've done the math. If you can win at this point and Kenseth finished 5th, you will take second. He goes, I've got 10 fingers. I can go ahead and add it up myself. A lot of lightheartedness on the radio. These guys are having fun, ending the season, which what really has been a dream season. He could end it in a big way.
There's going to be an extra lap.
In victory lane.
Yeah.
The race is going to be 268.
I'm going to go to the green-white checker here while cleanup continues. If the race reaches its scheduled conclusion, under the caution flag, NASCAR will make one attempt at a green-white checkered flag finish. Field being given the 1-to-go signal. It will be green next time by. After that, they'll get the white flag, then the checkered flag. If the caution comes out during that period, the race is over. And NASCAR will use video monitors and scoring loops around the track to sort out the finishing order.
Now, what's happening with Yaley? Is he out of fuel? Remember, he stayed out.
Thought he could make it to the end.
Thought he could make it to the end, and sure looks like he's out of fuel. Marty?
That would be out of fuel, gentlemen, and they've asked JJ if anything will turn over. He keeps saying nothing, nothing. And now they're asking, did we get it full when we came in? Because their calculations show that they were good to go even on a green-white checkered all the way to the end of the race. So obviously either some miscalculations or they did not get a fuel full, but he is out of fuel currently.
Running in 5th position last time by.
Yep. Now he gets a push.
He's just going to pull right in and call it a day.
Went for it. Didn't make it. So J.J. Yaley pulls behind the wall. A green-white checkered finish coming up in the season finale here in Homestead in the Ford 400. The championship on the line. Jimmy Johnson runs in the 8th position. 13th or better will clinch him the Nextel Cup championship. Pace car to pit road.
Casey Kane's going to have to get it done in 1 and 2, I think, BP. What do you think?
You got to get a really good jump on Biffle.
Green flag in the air for the final time this season.
Hey, don't forget about that 11 car.
And here comes Hamlin. That's going to help Biffle out a great deal as he battles with Casey Kane.
Oh! Boy, it sure looked like Hamlin got loose down there. Truex is going to take that spot away, and he's working on second.
Truex and Kane. That's for second behind Greg Biffle.
And Truex can see the leader directly in front of him, but does he have enough time?
Looking for his first ever Nextel Cup Series win. Last lap of the season. Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car closing in on the championship. Biffle looking for the win. Truex trying to play spoiler up front.
Don't think Truex is going to have enough. Biffle got a really great restart. Too many car lengths.
Biffle going for 3 in a row. Through 3 and 4 for the final time. Coming to the finish line. Greg Biffle goes 3 in a row at Homestead. And Jimmy Johnson is the 2006 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champion. What a run for those boys. They were out of it early in the chase. 4 terrible races to begin the chase here in 2006. Then all of a sudden, they came to life. There's Jeff Burton, who led the championship in the chase earlier in the season.
Thank you so much for everything. Our pleasure, bud. Our pleasure. Thank you for everything.
Johnson finished second at Charlotte, 1 at Martinsville. Second, and second the last 3 weeks. Teammate Brian Vickers went by. Teammate Kyle Busch. And here comes Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon and Ricky Hendrick. Rick's late son, instrumental in convincing Rick Hendrick to hire Jimmy Johnson to drive in the Nextel Cup Series. When it was announced, the popular question was, what were you thinking when you hired Jimmy Johnson? Rick had seen him drive late model cars as a teenager, competing against Ricky. He liked what he saw then, and he loves what he sees now.
I think you got to give Lowe's a lot of credit for stepping up and sponsoring a rookie in 2002. Yeah.
Be a lot of celebrating here now. Greg Biffle, who's won the race. Jimmy Johnson will celebrate his first NASCAR Nextel Cup Series championship at the age of 31. Alan?
With Chad Knaus taking congratulations from members of other team. Congratulations, you're champion.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. You know, I'm very honored and privileged to be a part of this Lowe's team. I mean, I've got a great group of guys. You know, these guys have really stepped it up, done an incredible job.
Steve Letard up here, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, with congratulations. And somebody else before we go back to that is Ray Evernham, one of Chad's mentors. We were talking about your great team.
Yeah, how about that? These guys are incredible. You know, I mean, this team has really come into its own over the last year, and I just couldn't be prouder. These guys are just, they're awesome. You know, we've had to battle back from a lot of weird stuff this year, and they held strong. They knew what this team was all about, and it took us a little bit of time. There's never been a team, I don't think, that's had to come into the Nextel Cup Series with as much pressure as what this team's had on it. I mean, when we showed up here in 2002, we had Jeff Gordon's championship winning race cars. So Jimmy had to step up, the team had to step up, I had to step up, and we had to go out there and do what Jeff Gordon did. And for us to come out of the box and then finally to come back and win the championship here in 2006, it's just an incredible feat. You know, Mr. Hendrick is by far and above the best car owner out there. He's got the best demeanor, the best leadership, best everything you could ever ask for, and we've got the best stuff at Hendrick Motorsports: chassis, bodies, engines. The guys that assemble these 24-48 cars are just phenomenal, and you know, I mean, it's a childhood dream. I'm very fortunate.
Last question so you can catch up with your team. Difficult moments through the day as you sat here on the pit box?
Yeah, you know, I really didn't want to have to do that two-tire bit there at the end. I didn't like that at all. I'm not a big two-tire fan anymore with these tires, and you just don't know what the car's going to do, and people started doing it, and we knew that we were going to have to go through that bit. But the car was handling well, and you know, we had a top 10 car all day long. We ended up 9th. I think it's a great way to end the season, you know, to come home 9th, and that's, you know, I don't know, 24 top 10s for the year. That's a pretty phenomenal season for these guys.
Congratulations on the championship.
Thank you.
Matt, all yours.
And a very close battle for the second position, right down to the checkered flag. When you look back on this season, Matt, and especially tonight, how would you describe it?
Oh, it was a great season. It's probably one of our best seasons we've ever had, really. I mean, 03 we were real consistent, did a lot of things right, but this year we've probably performed the best, and we've been the most consistent, you know, that we ever have on a Dewalt team. So overall, it's been a great year. I wish, you know, we could have took some of our strong runs and put them in the chase a little bit more, but yet when you look over the whole entire year, I mean, it's the fastest race cars I ever drove before. Have great pit stops like always, and just you know, real thankful to be part of this group.
Did you know how close it was at the end, the battle for second in the championship points between yourself and Hamlin? Did they even let you know?
I knew I was pretty close, so I want to make sure we stayed in the position that we were in. So we battled it all night. We ran a lot better than we've been running, but, you know, we're still not that great. So congratulations, Greg Biffle. That's pretty awesome. He won. I'm happy that he ended the season on a good note. You know, now we got one of our cars to run that good. So that's a good thing. It's been a great year. Congratulations to Jimmy and his team. They really deserve it. They've been the guys, you know, really probably been the best overall group with how they performed over probably the last 4 years. Some guys really deserve it.
Matt Kenseth, 6th here tonight in Homestead. Bill?
Thanks, Matt. It's Matt Kenseth that labeled the 48 bunch the Indianapolis Colts of NASCAR, the team you expect to win it every year. This is finally their year. Greg Biffle's had a tough year, but he's got his second win of the season. He's in victory lane with Marty Snyder.
Well, Bill, it took 6 months. It's been since May at Darlington that Greg Biffle was in victory lane, but I have a feeling that this was well worth the wait. A deserved shower from his race team that continues, along with some confetti. Been a long time, hasn't it?
It has been. I'll tell you what, that Ford Fusion was something else this weekend. You know, I just want to thank all the National Guard soldiers. You know, this wins for those guys, and we really love them. We're going to miss them next year, and just want to say hi to my dad. He's sick right now and can't be here right now, but Thinking of you, and this win's for you too.
I know Phoenix was hard for you because that's where your dad got sick, but let's talk about this emotional win and walk me through those last 2 restarts. The first one where you took the lead, and the second one where you had to hold off the 9 and the 1 car.
I know it. I'll tell you what, I was nervous as can be. You know, I was just scared that, you know, that I wasn't going to be able to hold those guys off. But man, this Ford Fusion race car is just so awesome, and Doug and everybody just did a great job on it. But I was nervous. You know, I was really nervous about the 1. He was getting a good start. He was laying back on me. And, you know, I'm pretty excited to be able to hold him off.
No better way to end your career with Doug Richard either, a win, and you guys had so much success together.
Yeah, we did. You know, I love Doug, and we're good friends. And, you know, we just didn't hit it off like we needed to this year. And, you know, we're hoping to bring good things with Pat next year. And Doug will find a home here in Roush. You know, he's a good guy, and he's going to be crew chief on another championship team.
It's his 3rd straight win at Homestead, but believe it or not, Dave, he couldn't remember how to get to victory lane. He gets a handshake from his teammate Mark Martin. Greg Biffle wins at Homestead, Dave.
And Denny Hamlin did get to victory lane this year. For the 8th time, you're in the top 5. Close, 3rd in the championship, 3rd in the race, Denny.
Yeah, it's congratulations, Jimmy, and those guys. They did exactly what they had to do. Didn't let anybody fluster them, and they deserved to be champions. They were the best throughout this chase. And as far as our race team, I can't say enough for them. They've done a great job with me all season, and you know, Mike is a deserving crew chief of a championship, and you know, hopefully I'll get him one in the future.
You think it was more what they did with you or what you did with them this year?
I think it's a lot of both. I mean, you got the rookie in me and the experience Mike Ford. You know, the combination's great, and you know, he's not only my crew chief, he's a great friend, and the family of his and Robin. And I can't say enough for all of them.
At the end of the race, were you thinking we're not going to get the championship, or were you thinking I got to get 2nd place?
I think it's 2nd. You know, I think Matt was running 7th, and you know, I needed to win the race regardless to move up, and just came up a little short at the end. Martin got a great restart, and you know, I got a run on Casey, but you know, it was not enough. My main goal was try to keep that 29 behind me.
Great season for the 11 bunch and Denny Hamlin, and the word around here is there will probably be many more. Matt?
And Dale Earnhardt Jr., it was a crazy night for you and your team.
Yeah, we had a really, really good car when the sun was out, and we led some laps, and as soon as the sun went down, it was like a switch. We got real tight, and we just weren't that good. But I got to tell you, my team, man, I'm really proud of them. They got a lot to be happy about with what they've been able to accomplish this year, the cars they've been able to build. They're kind of down on themselves about tonight, but they got a lot to be proud of, man. I hope that they realize that.
And then the contact with the wall.
Yeah, well, I just got tight and just drove it in the fence, but oh well. That's just the way it goes, man.
You have to be so excited about looking ahead to 2007.
Yeah, I am. You know, my guys are kind of bummed out. We had a great car tonight, and they're really, really bummed out about how we finished. But you know, we had a great car. We had a great team all year long, and we got so much to look forward to. And you know, we just got to maintain great positive attitudes going over through this offseason, get some work done, and get some great cars built, and put it to them next year.
After missing the chase last year, Dale Earnhardt Jr., stellar season, finished it top 5 in points.
Thank you, Matt. Jimmy Johnson has pulled up along the front stretch here at Homestead. And the celebration of his 2006 NASCAR Next Talk Cup Championship is about to begin. The stage is in place. His crew chief, Chad Knaus. His teammate, Kyle Busch. Brian Vickers. There were some tense moments after Talladega. But Rick said they got that behind him in a hurry.
Here it comes.
Here comes, there's Casey Mears, but here comes Jimmy Johnson climbing out.
Jimmy's still getting congratulations. His teammates still making their way here from where they were on pit road. Jimmy, you're a champion. You said you'd trade all your wins for a championship. You don't have to now. What are your thoughts?
It's such a long day to get here. I mean,
there were times when we were down and out and back in the back and had to come back through. It's going to take a little bit for it to sink in, but just to think of what this team's accomplished the year that we've had to be the champion, it's everything I've ever wanted to be as a champion. It's been a long, long time since I won a championship, and this means the world to me. I can't thank Lowe's, Hendrick Motorsports, all their hard effort, my entire 48 race team. And somebody very special to me, my wife. They say behind every good man is a good woman. You have no idea how good she is. I have punished her the last few weeks with my emotions and stress. I love her dearly. Thank her. My family, friends, everybody supported me through the years. This is just the most amazing day of my life.
Let me take you back a few weeks. When you started this chase for the Nextel Cup, things didn't go well. And then your team got on a roll. Was there something that threw that switch and turned you from this isn't going to go our way this year to we can still do this?
I think we knew in our hearts we could do it all along. We just had some bad luck at the beginning, and that's what let us get the momentum, let us sleep well at night, I should say, is because we knew that this team was capable of winning a championship. We just could have some luck, and some guys had some bad luck, which allowed us to get back into it, and I had a great time. And I think back to the chase, and I think of Jeff Burton, I think of Matt Kenseth, I think a lot of the guys in the chase, and they taught me a lot this year, and I have a ton of respect for all those guys. Tony Stewart was a huge help to me this weekend and last weekend. Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch, Brian Vickers, Casey Mears. I mean, I can't thank enough people for today. This is amazing.
Let's talk about the difference between years past and this, besides the fact that you're going to get the big trophy more formally here in a minute. What was the difference that allowed this championship to happen this year?
I think we just all matured as a race team. I have to put a lot of credit in Chad Knaus's hands. This beginning of the season when he was suspended those 4 races, we had a plan in place how we're going to do things different, and then that sped things up, and he did a phenomenal job putting this deal together. This has been his baby since day one. His guys put this together for me, so I can't thank him enough.
Let's talk about, you mentioned your wife Shani in the last few weeks and the stresses. What's it been like? Now you can tell us, what's it been like?
It's been hell. There's no way around it. It's been hell. It's just, you know, I knew we had a good team. I knew that we'd be able to do things right, but you just can't control the outside variables. And today I was around 3 or 4 different wrecks and had a piece of debris go through the front of the race car, which we had to fix on pit road. There was just a lot of crazy stuff going on, and luckily we missed all those problems.
Knowing what you expected the day to be like behind the wheel of the race car, what was it like inside there? Was it nerve-wracking?
It's been really weird is last weekend in Phoenix and then this weekend, once I fired the car off, you know, I was in my element, that was my place to be, and things really mellowed out for me. My mind played games on me the hours leading up to the race. So I had to stay busy during the week, which was helpful. And then the weekends I couldn't get away, I couldn't hide, you know, I was around it and like I said, wore my wife out.
You told me last week the 6 days between races were the toughest part. Your race day today went the way you wanted. Your team is here to celebrate with you. We'll see you up on the stage for the trophy presentation. Congratulations, you're a champion.
Oh, God, I love that. Thank you so much.
Jimmie Johnson started the year winning the Daytona 500. He's going to end the year holding the Champions Trophy, Bill, as the Nextel Cup champion for 2006.
Thanks, Alan. Well done. Got his first championship on 2 wheels at the age of 8. Had to wear a brace on his knee.
That's his dad, Gary, standing there beside of him.
It was obviously his wife, Shani, on the stage there. Still to come, the trophy presentation. The pit crew reaction as Jimmie Johnson takes the checkered flag and clinches the 2006 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series championship. The champion salutes the fans. Quick break here. We'll be right back for the trophy presentation.
Fun to sit back and watch that take place.
Well, heck, they came right out of the box and were championship caliber, and you know, he's been finishing ahead of me every year in points. So it's really been no surprise, you know, the last couple of years to see him battling for it. But then you start to see where they didn't pull it all together, and you saw their confidence get down and start to doubt themselves. And you know, to see them just start back over again and be solid this whole year. And then, you know, things have their problems in the beginning of the chase and fight right back and never give up. That's a championship caliber team right there. And, you know, I've been a part of those teams before, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great feeling. And, you know, I think this is only going to make those guys a whole lot stronger the next couple years.
you talked so often about the first phone call from Rick Hendrick for you, but what about the first meeting for Jimmy Johnson and his future co-car owner, Jeff Gordon?
Well, you know, I don't take much of the credit because Jimmy's the one that tapped on my shoulder and he said, hey, I got some questions to ask you about my future. And we just sat down and I just saw what a great guy was, what a humble guy was, and how bad he wanted it. And I saw the talent that he had on the racetrack. And I went home that day and I said, Rick, you know, what do you think of Jimmy Johnson? And he said, well, you know, I like him. You know, he looks good. He said, I said, well, we're starting this Ford team up. You want to put him in there? He said, well, you want to put your money where your mouth is? I said, yes. And it's all come together. I mean, just selling the sponsors and Lowe's and everybody and seeing it all come together and be this successful, a Daytona 500, a Brickyard 400, and a championship. I'm pretty fortunate to be partners with Rick Hendrick and have a guy like Jimmy Johnson, Chad Ganassi, that whole team running their operation.
He's won all the Crown Jewel events as a driver, now a co-champion car owner. Bill?
Thanks, Matt. Congratulations to Jeff. The champion stage here at the Homestead Miami Speedway in South Florida. Jimmy Johnson has made it up there with friends, family, teammates, co-workers from the Hendrick organization and a fellow competitor or two. The passing of the torch from the 2005 champion to the 2006 Jimmy Johnson. Let's go down to Alan Bestwick.
Just stepped away from the center of the stage to get a hug from some family members. His brother's here, sharing the moment with all the family and friends. And I'm going to see if I can reach over here and grab his attention since we're ready to give him the trophy. His mom. I won't interrupt that. Okay, now I'm going to have to go chase him. Jimmy, come on back over here. The world's waiting on you, or at least I am. And a moment with Chad Ganassi as well. All right, let's make a couple of presentations to our new champion. First up, I want to introduce Tim Kelly, who's the president of customer management for Sprint Nextel, and Tim Donahue, the chairman of Sprint Nextel. And Jimmy, they have a healthy-sized little check they want to give you and your team.
Jimmy, congratulations on a spectacular season. And on behalf of the 60,000 employees of Sprint Nextel, we are delighted to present to you a check in the amount of $6.2 million.
That'll buy a few tires next season. Isn't that right, Mr. Hendrick? And Jimmy, I'll turn you this way. The Chief Executive Officer of NASCAR, Mr. Brian France, to present the championship trophy.
Jimmy, it's the hardest championship in motorsports to win. You won it. You're going to be a great champion. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think that says about most of what the emotion of the moment is. You've had a couple of more minutes to think about it. What's sinking in?
All the stuff that I've been chasing out for the last couple of weeks in my mind, it's sinking in. Just the hard work, the years from racing off-road buggies to off-road trucks, ASA, Busch, then my Cup start. There's been so many great people along the way that have helped me. I just can't thank all of them enough. I just want to thank everybody. I've had a lot of people believe in me along the way and help me get my chance. Mr. Hendrick believed in me and gave me this chance here, but a lot of guys, I didn't have the stellar career through ASA and Busch, but I got my chance and I got here with this race team and we built something special. So I'm just so proud of everything that we've done. This is what we all work for. This is what we all want, and now I have one.
Congratulations to you. Mr. Hendrick, can I get you to step in here for a minute, please, or I'll step over to you. You told me this morning these things make you so nervous. What was that like for you at the end of that race?
Well, this had to be the longest one of my life, but just neat to see Jimmy come through here, and man, but it was a lot of laps there at the end.
Yes, it was. I know you're most proud of this not for yourself and the number of championships you've accumulated, but for all these guys sitting in front of us and all the people standing around on the stage that belong to the Hendrick Motorsports organization. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, these guys have been so close. Chad and Jimmy have been a great combination. They've been so close for several years now. And to finish it off, and these guys have worked hard. They've been good all year to win the Daytona 500 and then the Brickyard, and then to cap it off, the All-Star race in this. This is really neat. Unbelievable.
All these championships, you talk to people in different sports who've won different championships. They say the meaning of each one of them is different. What does this one mean for Rick Hendrick?
Well, you know, it's all of them are special. Jimmy's going to be a great champion. After the tragedy in '04, it's really neat to see all of the organization rally and come back and have 3 of them in the chase. But this is really special, and I got to say hello to my daughter and my 2 granddaughters, Lynn and Kate and baby Ricky, and my mother's watching back home. I wish they were all here.
Now, do I make assumptions for you that there'll be a very large trip to New York City in the near future from Concord, North Carolina?
Oh, yeah. And I was just asking them how many duplicate trophies could we get. So, no, this is going to be really great. The whole organization's worked so hard. We're just so proud of everyone. This has been a real organization effort. And, just to cap it off, it's just hard to win these things anymore. It's just really tough out with a lot of good cars, a lot of competition. So Lowe's has just been a great sponsor to come on board with us, and we just couldn't be happier. So this is going to be a great championship.
Congratulations to you for assembling that organization. Jimmy Johnson, Chad Knaus, Rick Hendrick, and the championship team from the Lowe's Chevrolet 2006 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champions. Bill?
Thank you, Alan. One more look at the unofficial points. Jimmy Johnson, the 2006 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champ.
And Denny Hamlin moves up past. He was tied with Kevin Harvick. Going in, moves up a spot. Casey Kane moves up 1. Mark Martin loses 1 in his final race for Jack Roush. And Kyle Busch could not get it going.
Quite a season.
Oh, it's been fantastic. But it's over.
Yep, and Jimmy Johnson celebrates the championship here in Homestead. In 2 weeks on NBC, it's the NASCAR Awards Special. Sunday, December 3rd from the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City. NASCAR honors its 2006 Nextel Cup Series champion Jimmy Johnson and the top 10 drivers from the season. That's the NASCAR Awards Special in 2 weeks on NBC. Coming up next on NBC, Football Night in America with Bob, Chris, Sterling, and the Bus, followed by Kickoff. It was a lot of fun watching. Jimmy Johnson starts with a win in the Daytona 500, finishes with a championship right here in Florida.
Wins the Brickyard.
That's right.
And the Daytona 500, he did it right.
And, but he started off so badly. Those first 4 races, but the last 6 have just been fantastic.
It's a fun ride.
It's been a great ride, but it's over. Jimmy Johnson wins.
What are we going to do now?
Why don't we go get thrown out of Applebee's?
Sounds like a good idea.
Jimmy Johnson, the 2006 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champion. Our thanks to our crew, our producer, our director, and everybody involved with NASCAR on NBC. Thanks for the ride.
Still clear.
Coming to the finish line at Homestead, Jimmy Johnson is the 2006 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champion.
Nice job.
Her concert has created a sensation.